I have two childhood sweethearts who grew up with me. One is a graduate student at Lynn University, pure-hearted and ascetic. She doesn't even come back once a year. The other was betrothed to me in an arranged marriage since birth. Ever since I reached the age of reason, I knew she was my future wife, so I have always stayed by her side, protecting her with meticulous care. But I never imagined that this would actually become a burden to her. Today, she finally couldn't hold back and snapped. During a family dinner, the parents of both families brought up our marriage contract. Shen Xinyue slammed the table and stood up on the spot, pointing at me and shouting, "It's all your fault for following me around all day. No matter what I say or how I scold you, it doesn't work. You've made everyone misunderstand. Stay away from me from now on. You're absolutely annoying." Hearing this, I froze stupidly, the half piece of shrimp I was about to put on her plate dropping to the floor. Her words were incredibly harsh, no different from publicly accusing me of being unrequitedly delusional. Under everyone's gaze, my expression turned hideous. My throat felt as if something was stuck in it, aching painfully. For a full 18 years of companionship, day and night, I had given her all my love. Yet all I got in return was her calling me thick-skinned, crushing my face and dignity into the ground in front of so many people. My parents' faces turned ashen. They likely never expected that the girl they watched grow up would treat their son this way in public. Shen Xinyue's father was the first to react, quickly rebuking her. "Xinyue, how can you talk like that?" Shen Xinyue frowned and shouted loudly, "Why can't I talk? In my eyes, he's just the older brother next door. I could never marry him. I don't like him at all. I want to date and marry the person I love. You have no right to arrange my marriage." After saying this, she threw down her chopsticks and prepared to leave. Uncle Shen glanced at my parents, then at me, standing embarrassed by the table. Furious, he took 2 steps to catch up. He gave Shen Xinyue a direct slap across the face, a sharp crack echoing out. It made my whole body tremble. This was the first time I had ever seen Uncle Shen hit her. Subconsciously, I rushed over, wanting to help her up, but she suddenly pushed me away with force. I stumbled back several steps. With reddened eyes, she looked at me and gritted her teeth. "Are you satisfied now?" My eyes widened instantly. Seeing her wiping her tears and about to leave, I grabbed her. "What do you mean by that? Let's make it clear." The way she looked at me now was filled with nothing but disgust. "You have the nerve to ask me to make it clear? If you weren't so shameless, following me every single day, would they keep trying to force us together? I have never liked you. Stop being so self-righteous, okay? Hao Chen, I'm begging you. Let me live my own life." Hearing this, I froze. Finally, enduring the humiliation, I spoke seriously. "Xinyue, I'm sorry. I will remember your words clearly. I, Jiang Hao Chen, swear here and now, from this moment on, I will never bother Shen Xinyue again." From that day on, I didn't say a single word to her. At school the next day, we were like total strangers. I walked into the classroom first. Shen Xinyue followed soon after. It used to be her in front and me behind. Now, it was me in front and her behind. Our classmates always loved to tease us, saying Shen Xinyue and I were like birds flying wing to wing, never seen apart. Seeing us appear one after the other, several classmates joked, "Our lovebirds are here." They usually said things like this. In the past, hearing it only made me happy. Now, though the words hadn't changed, my mindset was completely different. Subconsciously, I glanced sideways at Shen Xinyue. With a cold face, she walked to her seat, sat down, and pulled out a workbook to start studying. Looking at her cold demeanor, my chest felt like it was being pricked by needles. Some things, once said, cannot be taken back. "Since you want to cut ties with me, I'll help you." After putting my bag at my desk, I stood on the podium and, for the first time, clarified the relationship between us to the class. "Hey guys, Shen Xinyue and I are just neighbors. Going to and from school together was only because we live close by. I've caused everyone to misunderstand. Aside from being neighbors, Shen Xinyue and I are nothing else. Please don't make wild guesses and don't tease us anymore. Thanks." As I walked down from the podium, I saw the surprised and confused looks of my classmates. Passing by Shen Xinyue, I noticed her face looked even more upset. The classmates didn't really believe what I said on the podium. After all, it had been over 10 years. How could we not be inseparable? In the end, they all assumed it was just a couple spat and that we'd return to normal once we made up. The third period in the afternoon was PE. Senior year students spent every day buried in books and workbooks, everyone tortured to the point of exhaustion and lethargy. Fearing we might get depressed, the homeroom teacher would drive us all to the playground whenever there was PE, letting us exercise to ease our moods. I was playing basketball on the court. About 20 minutes later, a female classmate suddenly ran to the court, shouting anxiously, "Hao Chen! Hao Chen! Shen Xinyu tripped while running in class. She's hurt and bleeding a lot. Go check on her quickly." Hearing she was injured, my head spun and I panicked instantly, sprinting toward the playground. Perhaps for over 10 years, I had grown so used to being the simp following behind her that I'd instinctively rush over at the mere mention of her name. A circle of people had gathered in the center of the playground. A student shouted loudly, "Step aside! Jing Haochen is here." Hearing I had arrived, the students left a dedicated path for me. Shen Xinyu suddenly looked up, gazing from a distance. Some emotion flickered in the depths of her clear eyes. She looked utterly pitiful, just as I subconsciously reached out to care for her. I snapped awake the next second. I pursed my lips and spoke, "You guys help her to the school clinic to get treated." After leaving that one sentence, I turned and walked away without hesitation. My departure was beyond everyone's expectations. Immediately after I left, they began a heated discussion, saying all sorts of things. I acted as if I heard nothing, neither stopping my pace nor looking back. Just like that, we interacted like ordinary classmates for over half a month. Though I was a bit lonely, I felt more free and easy. One day after evening self-study, I was walking home alone. Qin Xinyin walked out from around a corner and stood still in front of me. I didn't want any more involvement with her. I took a step to the right, trying to leave. To my surprise, she followed my step, blocking my path again. I felt a bit irritable, but tried to keep my gaze calm and indifferent. Is something wrong? Hearing this, Shen Xinyu replied plainly, "Can't I wait for you? Didn't we used to go home together every day?" I gave a frank smile. "If there's nothing else, I'm leaving." I stepped to the side again, intending to walk away. Quick as a flash, she grabbed my left arm. "Brother Haochen, what are you doing? Is it necessary to be this cold?" I shot her a glare. "Please move out of the way, I'm going home." Shen Xinyu looked at me, gritting her teeth. "Zheng Haochen, what exactly do you want? Are you planning to never speak to me again for the rest of your life?" I only said a few harsh words. Do you really have to remember them for this long? Since when were you so petty? If you want to draw a line so badly, why don't you just move house? That would be a much cleaner break. Hearing this, I nodded calmly. My dad is actually looking at houses, but buying a new house is a big deal. I'm afraid it won't be resolved immediately. I'll urge my dad again when I get back. Don't worry. Even if we can't move away right away, I won't bother you anymore. You're heartless." Shen Xinyui's face turned very pale. She stared at me for a long while, and after realizing I wasn't just talking out of anger, she indignantly threw out those 3 words, turned around and left without looking back. After that, the two families resumed basic social interactions, though they weren't as warm as before. Between Shen Xinyu and me, there was always a barrier. New Year's Day arrived. My mom had originally planned for us to spend it at our own home, but Auntie Shen and Uncle Shen came over repeatedly to invite us. My parents tried their best to decline, but in the end, they had no choice but to agree. I didn't plan on going. I intended to stay home all day, studying. However, Shen Yizi took the initiative to come find me. "Brother Haochen, actually, I came to say sorry. I was wrong that day. I shouldn't have said those things to you. Even though I don't love you, I've never hated you. No matter what, I'll always treat you like a good brother in the future." I turned my head and looked at her coldly. "And? Brother Haochen, let's go to and from school together again. Otherwise, my mom and your mom will keep worrying about us." I clenched my teeth. This sorry felt like it was just ripping open my wounds. It would have been better left unsaid. I had finally managed to forget a little, and here you were to remind me again. After the college entrance examination, Gaokao, ended, the burden I had carried for over a decade was suddenly gone. Feeling relieved, I slept heavily for 2 days. On the 4th day after the Gaokao, Shen Xinyu came to my house to find me. As soon as I opened the door, she gave me a sweet smile. "Our big sleeper is finally awake." Her voice carried a hint of teasing. Having said that, she leaned in and very naturally sat on the sofa next to me. I don't know how long it had been since we'd been in this cold as water mode. Now, with her sudden proximity, I felt very unfamiliar and subconsciously moved away. Shen Xinyue looked at me with burning eyes. "Brother Haochen, how did you do on the exam?" Her voice carried an excitement I didn't understand. I turned my head and replied plainly, "It went okay." Then I started fiddling with a small ornament on the table to distance myself further from her. Perhaps noticing my coldness, Shen Xinyue leaned her face closer. "Brother Haochen, tell me the truth. Are you still mad at me?" I looked up at her, feeling bewildered. Shen Xinyue watched me for a moment, then smiled helplessly. "Brother Haochen, let's apply to the same school. We can still go to and from class together. That way." I immediately interrupted her. "I haven't decided which university to apply to yet." Shen Xinyue pouted. The conversation ended without any results. Since she didn't get my final answer, she looked a bit disappointed when she left. During dinner that night, Shen Xinyue came again. She was carrying 2 plates of steaming hot dumplings. "Auntie, these leek and egg dumplings just came out of the pot. They're so fragrant. My mom remembered Brother Haochen likes them, so please eat them while they're hot." My mom smiled and took the dumplings. After seeing Shen Xinyue out, my mom brought up the application issue at the table again. "You should still apply to the same school as Xinyue. No matter what, you grew up together. You're familiar with each other and can look out for one another." I didn't answer. In fact, I already had my own plans. On the day we went back to school to check our answers after the Gaokao, I saw Shen Xinyue pulling a boy into a corner. It was Song Huai, the transfer student from the neighboring class. I had seen Shen Xinyue walking with him several times before. They said they were going to apply to the same university because Song Huai wanted to be her knight and protect her forever. I gave them a faint glare and then turned to leave. I had given 18 years of sentiment to Shen Xinyue. From now on, I wanted to be myself so I wouldn't go to the same university as them. On the day of submitting applications, Shen Xinyue finished her choices and ran excitedly to my room. "Brother Haochen, have you picked your schools yet?" I glanced at her and replied, "I've picked them." Shen Xinyue got excited instantly. "Is it Beijing University? I heard they're expanding enrollment this year. With your grades, you'll definitely get in." I didn't answer but asked instead, "Is Song Huai going to Beijing University too?" Even though I knew the answer, I still asked, just for that almost non-existent sliver of possibility. Shen Xinyue paused, then smiled broadly. "Yes, he said he wants to go to Beijing University with me." I lowered my eyes, hiding the sharp ache in my chest. Shen Xinyue's smile gradually faded. She stared at the fake smile on my face. "Brother Haochen, thank you. And I'm sorry." She had said sorry too many times, but those few flimsy words couldn't mend the scars in my heart. I smiled faintly. In the final minute before clicking confirm, I changed the school name from Beijing University to Lin University, a famous school in the north. If I wasn't going to Beijing, that was my best choice. On the day the admission notices arrived, Shen Xinyue ran to my house with hers, insisting on seeing mine. "Brother Haochen, bring out your notice so I can admire it. This is mine, take a look." I calmly handed the admission letter to her. She stared at the name of the school, her eyes widening in shock. Shen Xinyue was both stunned and surprised. I had always followed her wishes since childhood. She likely never expected that on such a major matter as university applications, I would make a decision that went against her wishes. She probably hadn't realized that I was no longer the person I used to be. Shen Xinyue looked at me in disbelief. "Brother Haochen, why?" There seemed to be a hint of hurt in her eyes. I smiled faintly. "The teacher said, the traditional Chinese painting major there is more suitable for me." After saying that, I didn't look at her eyes again, nor did I check what expression she would have upon hearing my answer. Shen Xinyue felt somewhat sad. She moved her face very close to mine. "Jiang Haochen, look at me. Are you still bothered by what I said that day? Do you still blame me? Have you not forgiven me?" I was talking nonsense that day. Can't you just forget it? Hearing this, I felt a tug at my heart. I can't forget. You hurt me so deeply. How could I not care, and how could I forget so easily? Losing love is already pathetic enough. I can't lose my dignity, too. Thinking of this, I smiled faintly and looked at her. The feeling of that day? I forgot it long ago. Shen Xinyue's expression soured. She pursed her lips and turned to leave. I didn't understand. I had already gone this far. What was she still dissatisfied with? On the night I received the admission notice, my mom cried and asked if I wanted to repeat a year, then take the exam next year for Beijing University. Or even the key university in our city would be fine. Being closer would make it easier to look after me and save them from worrying day and night. I understood my mom's good intentions, but what about mine? I wanted to forget her and start over. I desperately needed an environment suitable for forgetting. I said nothing. I just looked at my mom expectantly. Lin University is great. The Chinese painting major is even more famous than at Beijing University. Study hard there. Strive to get into a combined master PhD program. Your dad and I will retire in a few years. If you want to stay there, we'll buy you a house after graduation. Your dad and I will move there to be with you. My dad patted my mom. Stop crying. Isn't Shen Qingli over there? She's there to look after Hao Chen. Feeling the thoughtfulness and love of my parents, the melancholy and reluctance buried in my heart gradually faded. At that time, I was single-mindedly focused on escaping Shen Xinyue's side. When filling out my applications, I acted entirely on my own thoughts and completely forgot that Uncle Shen's family had another daughter. She was a graduate student at the very school I chose, Lin University. Some things are perhaps destined. After everything, I was still going to live around the Shen family. Fortunately, that person was no longer Shen Xinyue, but Shen Qingli, who had always doted on me as a younger brother. Shen Xinyue left a day earlier than me. I really wanted to go see her off, but thinking about the things she had said, I didn't have the courage to step out of the house. I could only watch her quietly through the peephole on the door. Shen Xinyue was pushing her suitcase. She stood in front of my door for a full 2 minutes until Uncle Shen hurried her. Only then did she walk away. From this side of the door, I watched her leave the house step by step leave my world. She and I were finally separated. That love of mine that could never be spoken. University life was hardworking and busy. When I had free time, I'd occasionally wonder what Shen Xinyu was doing, wondering if she was thinking of me. Since birth, I had never been apart from her for this long. It made me very uncomfortable. My heart felt constantly empty. To distract myself, I joined several clubs. When I had nothing to do, I volunteered, keeping myself busy like a spinning top. Every day I was exhausted like a dog. The moment I climbed into bed, I'd fall asleep. After we each reported to our schools, we did stay in touch. It was always Shen Xinyue asking me, via satellite, messaging, how I was doing, telling me to send some photos for her to see. I tried my best to suppress my heart, and every reply was just a few plain words. As for the photos she wanted, I didn't know if she wanted photos of me or the school. I analyzed it and figured the latter was more likely, so I took many photos of cultural landmarks and sent them to her. Later, we didn't contact each other much. Often 10 days or half a month would pass without a word. She had the boy she liked to accompany her. I didn't want to cause misunderstandings, nor did I want my personal feelings to affect her life. So no matter how much I missed her, I held back and never proactively sent her a single word. When winter break was approaching, she looked for me once, asking when I was going back. I held my phone, staring at those simple words for a long time before typing a string of characters back. Not decided yet. Anyway, we aren't going the same way, so don't worry about me. That afternoon, Shen Xinyue posted a status on her social circle. She only wrote 5 words: "We are going home." Below were 2 pictures. One was the booking record for 2 plane tickets, and the other was 2 hands held together. My heart felt a sharp pain. So, I picked up my suitcase and embarked on the road home alone. Winter break at northern schools is relatively long, so I could nestle comfortably at home for quite a while. I could also eat the food my mom cooked every day. This was what I dreamed of most at school. Shen Xinyue came back a few days earlier than me. After I returned, she would occasionally come to my house to sit for a while and chat with me. Every time she came, she was all smiles, telling me about strange and interesting things at her school. I told her about the heavy goose feather snow in the north and the long, straight icicles under the eaves. Most of the time, she listened quietly, occasionally showing a faint smile. Sometimes she reminded me to keep warm and not catch a cold. Sometimes she'd say, "Take care of yourself while you're there alone." I attributed everything she did and said to a sister's concern for her brother. I didn't dare think too much, nor did I dare truly take it to heart. Regardless, I had to live my life alone. Everything else was just a passing cloud. One day she walked in while I had my legs propped up on the coffee table, devouring a watermelon, getting juice everywhere. She rolled her eyes at me, went to the bathroom to get a wet towel, and tossed it to me. Her tone was quite disdainful. "Look at your eating habits, so unrefined. What girl would ever want to be with you?" My heart throbbed with pain. "Is that why you trampled on my love like trash and belittled me so miserably? Shen Xinyue, stay away from me. I'm begging you." When Spring Festival arrived, the two families still gathered to celebrate as before. The three of us were dragged to their house early by Uncle Shen. Paper cuts were pasted on the windows. Small, colorful lights hung on the balcony. The sound of firecrackers outside from time to time made the atmosphere of the new year even richer. I had nothing to do, and several times wanted to go home and nestle in my own small room. But each time, I was stopped by Auntie Shen, who wanted me to go to Shen Jinyue's room to play with her. I didn't go. Instead, I huddled in the corner of the sofa, scrolling through my phone alone. What happened in the past was like a sharp knife, hanging over my head at all times. I didn't dare to easily forget. Shen Xinyue had apologized for it, but I couldn't get over that hurdle in my own heart. I don't know if being like this makes me too petty. I only know that there is always a long scar on my heart, bleeding. Suddenly, my phone was snatched away. I was startled. I was still watching an anime. Shen Jinyai had one hand draped over the sofa armrest next to me, while the other held my phone up to her eyes to look at the screen. I reached out to grab the phone. "Give it back to me!" She moved quickly, tilting her hand back and making a face at me. Then she turned and ran off. "If you want the phone, come to my room to get it." I didn't want to go to her room, let alone chase after her. Though remembering that I still had many photos of her saved on my phone, and that if she saw them, she'd start overthinking things again. I had no choice but to get up and go find her to demand my phone back. When I got there, she was already sitting at the desk. "Come in, let's watch together," she said, laughing happily, starlight dancing in her eyes. I shouted from the doorway, "I'm not coming in, just bring it out to me." "You don't even dare to come in?" "Hey, Brother Houchin, since when did you become so thin-skinned?" I looked at her and said plainly, "If you like the anime, go ahead and watch it. I can just watch TV." After saying that, I turned to leave. She called out to me, dissatisfied. "You're not seriously such a sore loser, are you? You can't even take a joke. You're just as petty as him. Here, take it. Like I actually wanted to watch it anyway." She raised her hand and tossed the phone to me. I scrambled to catch it, my peripheral vision catching her expression. The atmosphere made my head ache. I suddenly didn't know how I was supposed to interact with her anymore. With my phone back in hand, I no longer had the heart to catch up on the anime. Instead, I kept chewing over the words she just said. Who was she referring to by him? Ever since we were kids, Shen Xinyue had a unique personality and didn't like associating with boys. I was basically the only exception by her side. I didn't even have to think to know that him referred to Song Hui. Once I figured it out, I opened my phone's photo album and began deleting, one by one, the photos I had accumulated over the years. Around 9 o'clock, Shen Qingli called me on a video chat, and we talked lively for a good while. Just then, Auntie Shen shouted toward me, "Hao Chen, come quick! Your sister Qingli is on video call. She has something to say to you." I sat down. On the phone screen, Shen Qingli gazed at me quietly, a hint of a smile hidden in her eyes. "Hao Chen, I've been out sketching with Professor Xia, so I couldn't come pick you up. How are things at school?" I smiled and nodded. "They're pretty good." Having not seen her for over a year, Sister Jingli had gained a touch of mature charm, and her starlit eyes were shimmering with light. Shen Jinyu was already beautiful, but she was even a cut above her. In her pleasant big sister voice, Shen Qingli asked with concern, "Are you not used to the food? Why have you lost so much weight?" I shook my head. "No, not at all. I actually quite like northern food, especially the sweet and sour pork. Guobaoru." Perhaps my greedy expression amused her. Her brows relaxed into a wide, doting smile. "All right. I'll be back in March or April, and I'll treat you to Guobaoru then." Sister Qingli's call brought me a lot of joy on this New Year's Eve. Happy days are always fleeting, and soon it was time for school to start again. Under the strong intervention of my mom and Auntie Shen, she and I booked tickets for the same day. When we arrived at the airport, Song Hui was standing by the roadside, waiting with a smile. Having escaped her parents' eyes, Shen Xinye became very carefree. She ran over happily and threw herself into Song Hui's arms. For people in a passionate relationship, truly, a day apart feels like 3 autumns. I turned my head away and entered the terminal alone, carrying my luggage. The workload this semester was much heavier than the last. I blocked out all distractions and threw myself entirely into my studies. Gradually, I found that my heart had calmed down. I entered a competition organized by the department, and my results were actually near the top, causing a stir throughout the entire department. The professor highly appreciated my painting and asked me to create a piece of freehand bird painting based on my own understanding. She said if it was good, she would take it to an art exhibition and accept me as her graduate student. This professor held an extremely high status in the world of traditional Chinese painting. Being personally mentored by her was the ultimate dream for any student. It took me over a month to finish the painting. When I went to hand it to the professor, she was in the middle of a video conference. I was about to retreat, but Professor Xia gestured for me to come in. She picked up my painting and displayed it to the screen, asking the people on the other side to critique it one by one. Only after the meeting ended did I learn that those were the professor's graduate students, and she was guiding their research online. Unsurprisingly, my painting received extremely high praise again. The professor asked me to add the WeChat of a girl on the other end, saying our styles were unique and complementary, and that I should exchange insights on Chinese painting with her. I have his contact. A pleasant, mature female voice broke into my ears. It was very familiar. Professor Xia was a bit confused. "You two know each other?" She held the phone out to me. Seeing the person, I smiled. It was Sister Qinglei. She was on the other side of the network, looking at me with a smile. "He's my younger brother. Be good and attend your classes. I'll be back soon to treat you to something delicious." Sister Qinglei's smile was very gentle, doting on me just as she always had. Meanwhile, Professor Xia kept praising my talent, calling me a rare genius. Almost overnight, I became a prominent figure in the department, and even the whole school, ranking in the top 3 of the school's influential people list. My photo was even posted on the main bulletin board, making me known to most of the school. Consequently, more people started coming to me for paintings, both paid and unpaid. I was busy all day, and my mood gradually turned bright. Sister Qinglei is 3 years older than me. In the past, I was always the one doting meticulously on Shen Xinye, while I was the one enjoying Shen Qinglei's care. I didn't actually know that much about her. Now that I was in contact with her more, I found her to be quite an interesting person. Every few days, Shen Qinglei would discuss Chinese painting knowledge with me, pass on some of her experience, or send over her paintings for us to appreciate together. I would also seek her advice when I hit a bottleneck. She would always give me the most honest suggestions, which benefited me greatly. Because our interests were so aligned, our conversations were perfectly in sync, and being around her felt incredibly relaxed. Sometimes, when I could squeeze out some time, I would check my social feed to train my emotional resilience. Shen Xinyu had completely changed from her previous coldness. She was showing off her happy life almost every day, either the two of them having a drink, or going on a date, posting waves of dog food. It left a bitter taste in my mouth. I wanted to use the Guobao's Sister Qinglei promise to sweeten things up, but her return date was postponed again and again. I ended up going to eat it twice with my roommates instead. Soon it was summer break. Shen Xinye didn't contact me, and I didn't bother her. Once again, I set off on the road home, alone with my bags. I thought I had gotten used to life without her. The flight took off at night. It was past 6 a.m. when I got home. I didn't have time to talk to my parents. After a quick shower, I dove onto the bed to catch up on sleep. By the time I woke up from a mess of dreams, it was already noon. My mom was bringing the prepared food to the table. Seeing me awake, she gestured for me to come eat. I looked at her and said, "Mom, I want to eat cold noodles for dinner." She shook her head. "Another day. Your Auntie Shen is treating us to dinner tonight. We're going out." Dinner was at a newly opened private tea house on the street corner. Because I arrived late, there was only one empty seat left when I entered the private room. Before I could even sit down, Shen Xinye spoke up. "Brother Haochen, you're the slowest. The whole family is waiting for you." I lifted my eyelids to speak, but someone felt like a sharp blade stabbing forcefully into my eyes. The pain made it almost impossible to breathe. Not having seen her for half a year, she had matured quite a bit, with an inseparable tenderness in her eyes. Shen Xinyue leaned against Song Huai's arm with a shy smile. Song Huai held her hand, and the intimacy between them left not a single gap. My eyes ached, and my heart ached even more. She had brought him back to meet the parents. At this moment, all the past between me and Shen Xinyue that belonged only to me came to a screeching halt. It no longer had any meaning. For a moment, I was lost and dazed. Auntie Shen greeted me warmly. "Hao Chen, sit! What do you like to eat? I'll order it for you." I sat down heavily in my seat. Right across from me were those two, leaning sweetly on each other. At this moment, I truly wanted to claw my own eyes out. Shen Xinyue looked at Song Huai with a soft, sweet gaze. "This is the brother next door I often tell you about, Jiang Hao Chen." "Brother Hao Chen, this is my boyfriend, Song Huai." Of course I recognized him. He was a student in our year, a transfer student from out of town, the undisputed school hunk. His gentle and delicate nature was a world apart from my own carefree personality. Girls probably all like this type. I nodded slightly and said, "Hello." Uncle Shen and Auntie Shen knew about Song Huai's family situation and were very unhappy. Once the feast started, they kept putting food on my plate, ignoring Song Huai completely. Song Huai was a bit at a loss. Shen Xinyue kept whispering comfort to him. My parents, seeing it was the Shen family's private business, didn't say much. As for me, from the moment I sat down, I focused entirely on the food. When I was mostly finished, I put down my chopsticks and went out to a small terrace to get some air. I didn't want to watch them show off their affection. Before long, a light and messy set of footsteps stopped outside the terrace. Not wanting to be discovered, I moved silently further into the shadows. Then, Auntie Shen's voice rang out. "Yu Ye, what exactly is so good about that Song Huai that makes you so devoted to him? When you graduate and enter a state-owned enterprise, there will be a background check. Can his family pass that? How is he better than Hao Chen in any way? Why must you choose him?" I was startled. I really wanted to leave. This was a Shen family matter, and I, as an outsider, shouldn't know too much. Unfortunately, the terrace was a dead end. There was no way out. Shen Xinyue was clearly head over heels for Song Huai. She desperately lowered her voice to argue with her mother. Song Huai stood helplessly to the side, watching everything unfold. Although there was a smile on his face, it inexplicably carried a hint of humbleness. For a fleeting second, I actually felt a bit of sympathy for him. What did he do wrong, really? What did his parents' affairs have to do with him? He just met a girl he liked. As for that mess between me and Shen Xinyue, it truly had nothing to do with them. To take it a step further, neither Shen Xinyue nor Song Huai were in the wrong. They just wanted to live the life they liked. I couldn't help but smile mockingly at myself. Why could I find a reason for everyone else to be blameless, yet I couldn't find a way to redeem myself? Outside, Shen Xinyue clearly couldn't control her emotions anymore. Her voice rose again. "Mom, can you please think about what I want? The person I like is Song Huai. No matter how good Jiang Hao Chen is, he's just a neighbor. At most, a brother from next door. I don't like him. I don't like him now, and I'll never like him in the future." I didn't want to listen anymore. Once again, 19 years of feeling were ruthlessly negated. Auntie Shen's face turned pale with anger, and she raised her hand to strike. I stepped out of the terrace and grabbed her arm. Auntie Shen's expression changed instantly. The guilt in her eyes was like a sea about to drown me. Shen Xinyue turned to look at me, her gaze very cold. I didn't know where the coldness in her eyes came from, or why she was directing it at me. I gave a self-deprecating smile and patted Auntie's hand. "Auntie, I don't like Shen Xinyue, and she doesn't like me. It's impossible for us to be together. Besides, I already have someone I like. We're doing great right now." After saying that, I subconsciously looked out at the sky. At this point, I could only use this excuse to protect my dignity. Perhaps seeing that we hadn't returned for a long time, the people in the room all came out to look for us. At that moment, everyone was standing at the door. They all heard the last few dark words I spoke. Everyone looked at me, their expressions full of shock. That night, I lay in bed for a long time, unable to sleep as the pain in my chest continued to spread. Near dawn, Shen Xinyue sent me a message. "Do you really have a girlfriend? Who is she?" I stared at the phone screen, looking at it for a long time without blinking. Then, I set the phone to silent and tossed it to the foot of the bed. I didn't reply. The next morning, with heavy dark circles under my eyes, I made plans with a few high school classmates to go mountain climbing. After what happened yesterday, I especially didn't want to see Shen Xinye, but our houses were too close. The only way to avoid her was to stay out. Just as I got ready and opened my front door, it happened that Shen Xinye was locking her door and putting on her shoes while leaning on Song Huai. I gave a simple greeting, not intending to say more. Then Shen Xinye spoke up. "Let's go." I called a car downstairs. I froze for a moment. "You guys are going too?" Xing Haoli looked at me sideways, a strong sense of mockery in her eyes. "Otherwise? Let you go out and run wild alone?" I felt a chill in my heart. What are you two doing joining in on a mountain hike? Can't you just give me some peace? But I was the one who initiated the activity. I definitely couldn't back out midway. Several classmates met at the foot of the mountain. They were all people I usually played well with. This was our first gathering since summer break started. Male friendship is simple and pure. We put our arms around each other's shoulders, laughing and shouting, having a great time. They all knew about the mess between me and Shen Xinye. Before, they often joked that we were a golden couple. In everyone's eyes, I was supposed to be with her. But now, Shen Xinye was holding another man's hand right in front of me. They couldn't make sense of it, repeatedly shooting me looks as the fires of gossip burned brightly. I could only manage a bitter smile. "Shen Xinye, you should introduce your boyfriend to everyone." My high school classmate Kazine, who was always blunt, yelled out, "Since when did Shen Xinye get a boyfriend?" These brothers knew my feelings for her inside out. They were all aware of the time she scolded me in public back then. They had even cursed her back for several days because of it. Qi Zhen was particularly protective. He was likely trying to get some justice for me in his own way. I smiled helplessly. This guy really knew how to bring up the one topic I didn't want to touch. Shen Xinye was visibly displeased. Kazan continued to dig. "Weren't you two?" Before he could finish, Liu Yu covered his mouth. "What's with all the nonsense? Hurry up and climb the mountain." Climbing is a physical task. By the time we reached halfway up, everyone was exhausted and sat in the shade to rest and cool off. They all surrounded me, looking like they wanted to say something but were afraid of hurting me. That look, wanting to speak but holding back, was both funny and heartwarming. Luckily I had them today, or I would have been dog-walked and tortured by Shen Xinye. I looked seriously at this group of friends and said, "I'll say this once, and no one is allowed to ask again." The arranged marriage thing back then was just a joke by the older generation. She's always just seen me as a brother. I was the one who misunderstood. Song Huai is the one she likes. Hearing this, Keizhen looked at me and asked, "Then what about you, Hao Chen? Don't tell us your feelings for her were fake." I shook my head helplessly. Twisted melons aren't sweet. If you can't stand seeing me alone, you guys must have cousins or older sisters at home. You can introduce them to me. Hearing this, Liu Yu spoke up. "It must be really hard, right?" I turned my head to look at a small daisy blooming in the distance. It took a long time before I responded. "It'll pass." Everyone sighed, lamenting how much things change. Then, their spirits rose again as they said they'd cast a wide net after going back to find Hao Chen a girlfriend 100 times better than Shen Xinye. I couldn't stop them, so I just let them talk their nonsense. We finally reached the summit, and several of them noisily insisted on going to the only shop to get ice. I caught a glimpse of Shen Xinye and Song Wei, who had arrived first, sitting on a bench under a tree with a box of raspberries, feeding them to each other one by one. I didn't want my eyes to suffer, so I turned and walked in the opposite direction. Keizhen followed me, unable to stop muttering quietly, "Shen Xinye is heartless and blind. She'll definitely regret it later. That Song Huai doesn't look simple at all. With your naive personality, how could you be a match for him?" Keizhen was full of righteous indignation. After he finished his rant, I finally told him, "Shen Xinye and I are ancient history. Don't mention it again." Keizhen gritted his teeth and scolded me for being useless, frustrated that I wouldn't fight back. Just then, Liu Yu called, saying they had found a peach tree growing on a cliff face full of fruit and wanted us to come see. A peach tree on a cliff is rare. Keizhen and I hurried over to see the novelty. On the sun-facing eastern slope, there was indeed a huge peach tree growing diagonally out of the cliff wall. I saw a branch that looked very close. It seemed like I could reach it if I just stretched. Feeling playful, I climbed onto the railing. Ignoring my friends' warnings, I reached out to grab a protruding branch. I don't know if it was my bad luck or if the railing was in disrepair and couldn't bear my weight, but I felt a wave of dizziness and tumbled down headfirst. Perhaps it wasn't my time to die yet. At the critical moment, I managed to grab a vine growing from a crack in the rock. This stopped my fall and left me hanging in midair. Yen and the others were shouting something from above, but my ears were ringing so loudly I couldn't hear a thing. This was a scenic area, so the mountain rescue team arrived quickly. When I was rescued from the cliffside by two people, Shen Xinyue ran toward me frantically. "Hao Chen, how are you? Are you hurt?" I had various wounds on my arms and legs, and the lingering fear was so overwhelming that I couldn't answer her question for a moment. Songhua crouched between her and me, intercepting the hand she reached toward me and gently comforting her. "Don't worry, Hao Chen will be fine." I had just escaped mortal danger. When the rescue team carried me to the foot of the mountain, an ambulance was already there. My brothers sat in the back with me as the ambulance sped toward the hospital with its siren wailing. From the bottom of the mountain until I was loaded into the ambulance, Songhua carefully held Shen Xinyue's hand, following behind us. Surrounded only by my old friends, I felt completely disheartened in that moment. The ambulance stopped at the hospital entrance. I saw my parents rushing over like they were losing their minds. Their tearful eyes made my heart ache. I had run out to find peace because of Shen Xinyue, yet she seemed indifferent to my injury. I stayed in the hospital for 4 days. My parents stayed by my side the entire time, taking care of me. Uncle Shen and Auntie also came every day, bringing fruit and meals, clearly exhausted. I felt bad. I think I understood what they were doing. They were using their actions to make it up to me. Shen Xinyu knew I was hurt, but never came to see me. It would be a lie to say I wasn't disappointed. Around noon on the 3rd day, just as I woke up from a nap, I heard the sound of a suppressed argument at the door. The voices were very familiar. It was Shen Xinyue and Songhua. Through the door, it wasn't very clear, but it seemed Shen Xinyue wanted to visit me, and Songhua wouldn't let her. The two of them were making a bit of a scene in the hallway. I was being discharged the next day. Whether she came to see me or not didn't matter anymore. As I listened, I drifted back to sleep. On the day of my discharge, both families turned out in full force. The hospital room was packed. Uncle Shen and Auntie packed the things, while my mom helped me get dressed. My dad was half kneeling on the floor, tying my shoelaces for me. My heart felt warm. Even without love, I still had such deep and sweet familial love. I was actually quite rich. Shen Xinyue stood at a distance, accompanied by a clearly unhappy Songhua. Several times, she wanted to come over and help, but he stopped her, so she just stood there with him. Occasionally, she would steal a glance at me, her gaze holding more or less a bit of concern. Most of the time, she was whispering to Songhua. He kept casting glances my way, his eyes full of resentment. I figured Auntie probably insisted she come pick me up, and Songhua didn't want to but didn't dare refuse her, so he was taking it out on her. When I was discharged, the doctor said my external injuries were fine, but I still needed a few days of rest. So once I got home, my mom adamantly refused to let me go out. I lay at home for over 10 days like that. I felt like my legs were going to atrophy if I didn't move soon. While I was playing games / on phone, Shen Xinyue's call came in. I calmed down, frowning as I debated whether to answer. These past few days while I was recovering, she had come by a few times to bring food, all things Auntie Shen made to nourish me. My mom accepted them all, but I rarely ate any. Several times, she said she wanted to come into my room to see me, but my mom turned her away on the excuse that I was asleep. Shen Xinyue had said, "Auntie, I just want to go in and take a look. I won't do anything. We even slept together when we were little. I really think of Hao Chen as my own brother." My mom didn't even bat an eye, telling her, "That was when you were kids and didn't know better. Now you're grown and you have a boyfriend. You should know to keep your distance." This was because on the day I came back, I told my mom that Songhua was unhappy when she came to the hospital. If she came to my room and he found out, they would likely have a fight. I didn't want to be the source of their conflict. I was hesitating when my finger accidentally swiped and unlocked the phone. Shen Xinyue's voice came clearly through the screen. "Brother Hao Chen." I frowned and said, "Is something wrong?" She replied, "I'm coming to see you. I'm worried about you. I've come several times, but Auntie won't let me see you." I've been thinking about it. According to my observation, Auntie just went out. Hurry and open the door for me. Hearing this, I said, my wound hurts, I can't get up. Actually, I was right by the door. She was quite persistent. Get up slowly. I'm not leaving until you open up. I thought it would be bad to keep refusing, so I figured I'd just let her in. I walked over slowly and opened the door, but immediately regretted it. I thought she was alone, but Song-hwai was standing there with his arm around her shoulder. My head started to throb. I cursed myself for being so careless. Although I deeply regretted it, they were already there. I couldn't exactly shut the door in their faces. Please come in. I specifically used a very formal please. Shen Xinyue gave me a quick glance. Then, holding Song-hwai's hand, she squeezed past me. She sat down naturally on the sofa, with Song-hwai pressing right up against her side. The two of them were like joined at the hip dolls. I was screaming in my head, I know you're in love, but is it really necessary to show it off to me every second? On the surface, however, I politely went to the kitchen to cut some fruit for the guests. Brother Haochen, I knew about your accident that day, but I couldn't save you in time. I'm sorry. I smiled and shook my head. It wasn't your responsibility. Don't say sorry. It's fine. Hearing this, she smiled. I knew it. The handsome Haochen I know is the most generous person. He'd never be mad at me. It was Song-hwai's first time at my house, and he was looking around curiously. Haochen, your house is really beautiful, I replied politely. My mom did it all. She's an interior designer, quite famous in the industry. My painting talent probably came from her. I walked out with the fruit tray and set it on the coffee table in front of the sofa. Using a small fork, she poked a piece of fruit and handed it to Song-hwai, before poking another piece for herself. Shen Xinyue looked up calmly and kept staring at me. I didn't understand what she meant, and it made the fruit in my mouth lose its sweetness. Confused, I asked her, what are you looking at? Are you sick? Shen Xinyue rolled her eyes at me. Where's my fruit? Is this how you treat your younger sister? I replied, speechless. Don't you have hands? Can't you get it yourself? Are you still waiting for me to feed you like I used to? You even know where our family's bank books are kept, so stop acting like a guest. I said this completely without malice, just making casual conversation, but Song-hwai's expression changed quickly. He seemed angry and indignant, but mostly jealous. Haochen, is your family that rich? Telling others where the bank books are. Aren't you afraid of something happening? I shrugged indifferently. I was just making a comparison. My dad is a chief physician and my mom is a designer. Their income is decent. I was just telling the truth, without any exaggeration or flair. Song-hwai's expression grew even uglier, though he still held Shen Xinyue's hand with that same gentle look. Actually, not having money is quite good too. I've heard that families with good conditions are often unhappy. It's either siblings fighting over inheritance, or couples divorcing because they don't get along. My brows furrowed instantly. Wasn't he blatantly cursing my family? Shen Xinyue also felt his words were inappropriate and squeezed his hand. Song-hwai, don't talk nonsense. Uncle and auntie have a great relationship. Song-hwai pulled Shen Xinyue into his arms and looked at me provocatively. I didn't mean it like that. I really wanted to grab a broom and sweep them both out. What kind of big shot did he think he was acting like in my own house? Song-hwai's words were loaded with subtext. Even someone as thick-skinned as me understood it. There was no way Shen Xinyue didn't. She was just playing dumb to protect him. Song-hwai continued. Haochen, don't misunderstand. Yue was just worried about you, so I accompanied her to visit. There's really no other meaning. I shook my head. You're overthinking it. Thanks for coming. You should head back. I'm tired and want to rest. I coldly issued the order to leave. Shen Xinyue's face darkened, and she stared at me fixedly, seemingly furious that I was kicking her out. Jiang Haochen, we came here out of kindness. What are you doing? If you really look down on Song-hwai, the worst that happens is we just stay away from you from now on. She said the first half for Song-hwai's benefit, but the second half was aimed at me. I replied coldly, Are you stupid? Didn't you hear what he said about my parents? I don't care what you say about me, but talking about my parents is off limits. I don't want to fight. Just get out. If there's nothing important, don't come back in the future. Shen Xinyue paused. Her eyes filled with disbelief. Song-hwai jumped in again. Yueo, I really didn't mean it the way he said. He misunderstood me. You have to believe me. I was honestly disgusted. I never imagined a guy could be so manipulative. Shen Xinyue glared at me. Jiang Haochen, Songhui's comments about uncle and auntie were indeed inconsiderate, but he's always been outspoken and blunt. Are you without fault here? You know perfectly well that his family went through a major crisis, yet you brag about how good your life is right to his face. Aren't you just provoking him? Young Hao Chen, how did you become like this? I was so angry I laughed. Her evaluation was one step away from calling me evil. Was this still the Shen Xingyue I'd known for 19 years? Suppressing my irritation, I said, Shen Xinye, I'm done wasting words with you two. I'm tired. Please get the hell out of my house, thank you. Hearing this, Shen Xinye grabbed Songhui's hand and left in a huff. Before crossing the threshold, Songhui looked back at me. The smugness in his eyes was unmistakable. I found it laughable. Because she favored him, he felt he could be completely unscrupulous. After not seeing Shen Xinyu for several days, I peacefully enjoyed my summer break. Life was quiet and comfortable. Amidst my parents' worried reminders, I set out on my journey once again. For some reason, Shen Xinyu insisted on leaving on the same day as me. I didn't care. If we were going together, so be it. It was just a short trip from home to the airport. When we arrived and got out of the car, a video call from Sister Qingli came through. Without thinking much, I stepped aside to answer. Sister Qingli was truly the definition of talented and beautiful. She had one habit I didn't quite understand. She rarely called normally when she needed me, insisting instead on video calls. I once asked her why. She said video calls were louder and harder to miss. After greetings, Shen Qingli smiled and said, The Research Institute is co-hosting a competition with several prestigious universities. The judges are all famous masters of Chinese painting. Xiao Chen, do you want to participate? If you do, would you like to team up with me? Aside from painting, Sister Qingli and I didn't talk about much, but her achievements in Chinese painting were significant. Her soft and elegant style complemented mine perfectly. I had learned a lot from her. She was both a mentor and a friend. Teaming up with her was exactly what I wanted. Before hanging up, she mentioned she was already back at school and would pick me up from the airport. I felt a bit happy. After the call, I saw Shen Xinye standing by a pile of suitcases by the road, waiting for me. Songhui had his arm around her shoulder, a gentle smile on his face. I couldn't be bothered with them, so I grabbed my luggage and boarded the plane. When the plane landed in the evening, my phone pinged with several messages, all from Shen Xinye. Have you landed? Brother Hao Chen, you have a lot of luggage? Is anyone picking you up? Brother Hao Chen, stay away from other girls. You're too honest. I'm afraid you'll get hurt. I glanced at them and deleted them one by one. I replied with 3 words. Arrived, don't worry. She replied almost instantly with several long voice messages. I deleted them without listening and put my phone back in my backpack. Sister Qingli was waiting for me in front of a blue car, looking elegant and ethereal. Her eyes lit up when she saw me. She jogged over and rubbed my head with both hands. Long time no see. Hao Chen, you've grown taller. You're so much taller than me now. I scratched my head and looked down at her. Sister Qingli, you've become even more beautiful. She laughed happily. Why are you so thin? Have you not been eating well? I couldn't find the right words to answer. After all, I'd been hospitalized during the summer and had no appetite due to my low mood, so I really had lost weight. I smiled and touched my cheek. Sister Qingli, it's been 2 years, and you still remember what I used to look like? I've been running to lose weight recently. She gave me a sideways look. Losing weight until the light leaves your eyes? I don't care if it's weight loss or something else. From today on, I'm going to feed you back to how you were. Back at the dorm, the room, which had been empty all break, was covered in dust. My roommates weren't arriving until tomorrow, so I rolled up my sleeves to clean. By the time everything was settled, it was nearly 7 p.m. I was so tired my back and legs ached. Just as I was about to lie down, Sister Qingli sent me 2 documents and then called via video. She said the documents were for the competition and wanted to see if I had any fresh ideas. I was truly exhausted and spoke weakly. Can I look at them later? I just finished cleaning the dorm and want to rest. She raised her eyebrows. Rest after you eat. The feeding plan starts with this meal. I'm coming to pick you up downstairs. Honestly, I was too tired to move, but I was also starving, so I agreed. She added, oh, by the way, do you mind if my classmates come along? I shook my head. I don't mind. The more the merrier. At 7:30 p.m., I arrived at the meeting spot. As soon as I entered the restaurant, Shen Qingli stood up from a window seat deep in the hall and said something to her table mates. She walked over to me and smiled. I was just about to head out and meet you. Seeing her stunningly beautiful smile, I was momentarily dazed. She curled her lips. Do I look good? I subconsciously nodded. Good. Sister Qingli is the most beautiful. Only today did I realize I was such a sucker for a pretty face. She laughed at my dazed expression and led me over to introduce me to her friends. One girl's eyes sparkled. Does Lin University really have such a handsome junior? How did I not know? Qingli is so stingy, not introducing us sooner. Qingli, I don't want to be your sister anymore. Can I be your sister-in-law instead? Shen Hing said while peeling shrimp. Stop talking nonsense. If you scare him away, you'll have to be the ones to find him and bring him back. As she spoke, she finished peeling a shrimp and placed it on my small plate. I was stunned. Sister Qingli. She looked at me with clear, slightly innocent eyes and blinked. The words I was about to say were swallowed along with the peeled shrimp. Seeing me eat them one by one, she finally showed a happy smile. She had always protected me so gently. It had been like this since I was a child. She knew what I liked and disliked, and the food she put on my plate was always my favorite. Her friends, despite the jokes, were very easy to be around. The table was full of laughter the whole time. The relaxed atmosphere effectively dispelled my tension. Whenever I was with Sister Qingli, I always felt at ease. I thoroughly enjoyed the meal. When we left, it was raining. September in the north was already turning cool. One needed a long-sleeve jacket for the mornings and evenings. I had come out in thin clothes because I was sweaty from the physical labor of cleaning. After the meal, it was 9:30 p.m. and raining. The outdoor temperature had dropped significantly. Stepping out of the restaurant, the autumn chill hit me. I subconsciously hugged my arms and shivered. Soon, a jacket-carrying body heat was draped over my shoulders. A faint scent of perfume lingered at the tip of my nose. When I realized what happened, I tried to give it back. Having already seen through my thoughts, she gently pressed down on my shoulders. Keep it on. It's not the first time. Catching a cold will interfere with the competition. That was a heavy threat, and I was successfully coerced. Over the next few days, I immersed myself in creation whenever I wasn't in class. Shen Qingli, under the guise of making communication easier, reserved a dedicated spot for me in the Research Institute studio. I could go there anytime. Because of her, I became the first freshman at Lin University allowed to freely enter and exit the Research Institute. This also made a large number of guys who admired her very envious. Furthermore, she really made feeding me a daily ritual. No matter where I was or what I was doing, she would rush over to take me to dinner when it was time. Often, her friends were there too. Over time, I became familiar with them. Because of Sister Qingli, they all called me Little Brother. With her around, I felt like a child, happily enjoying her meticulous care. But it seemed fate wouldn't let me live too comfortably. That day, I received a video call from Shen Xinye. I had just showered and was sitting at my desk drying my hair. When the call came, I felt a mix of emotions seeing that flashing avatar. This was the first video call she'd made to me since I started university. I didn't know what she wanted. I was tempted not to answer, but she called again as soon as the first one timed out. I reluctantly swiped to answer. Her face appeared clearly. She was smiling happily. Brother Haochen, what are you doing? I replied flatly. Is something wrong? Her lips curled upward. Can't I call you if nothing is wrong? I gave a dry laugh, but didn't take the bait. This kind of flirtatious talk wasn't appropriate for us. Even when I was most infatuated with her, I never joked with her like that, let alone now. She spoke again. I have a favor to ask. What is it? My heart skipped a beat with a bad premonition. She continued. Songhui's department is organizing an exchange with Lin University. He'll be going over to your side the day after tomorrow. I'm afraid he won't be able to handle things alone. I was speechless. So Songhui was coming here and I had to take care of him? Does he not have hands or feet? To be honest, I didn't want to agree. Songhui looked like a frail scholar, but I always felt he was full of schemes. Besides, I was busy with the competition and exhausted every day. If it weren't for Sister Qingli, I probably wouldn't even be eating properly. Seeing my hesitation, she asked again. Pretty please, Brother Haochen, I'm begging you. She wore an expectant smile. Song-hwai also appeared on screen and waved. "Hello, Hao-chen, don't worry, I definitely won't cause you any trouble." Looking at that bright, smiling face on the screen, I frowned. "How long is the exchange?" Her eyes lit up when she heard this. "At most a month," I continued. "Let's get this straight. I'm very busy lately, so I can only do my best. Tell him if there's something important, find me. Otherwise, don't keep bothering me." Seeing that I finally agreed, she smiled until her eyes squinted. "Brother Hao-chen, thank you." The next morning, I had breakfast with Shen Qingli, and she ordered my favorite dishes. But thinking about Sung-hwai's arrival made me so annoyed I lost my appetite. I could only manage a few bites. Sitting across from me, she asked with concern, "What's wrong? You're eating so little." Resting my chin on my hand, I replied, "Sung-hwai is coming. I really dislike him." A hint of confusion appeared in her beautiful eyes. "Who is Sung-hwai? What does his coming have to do with you?" I was shocked. Did she not know about Shen Xinye and Song-wei? Did she also not know about the mess between me and Xinye? No wonder she hadn't mentioned it once since we met. After a thought, I said, "He's your sister's boyfriend. He'll be family in the future. You don't know yet?" She used a napkin to dab her lips and set it down, her eyes flashing with an unreadable light. "Don't make jokes like that. You and Shen Jinyue have had an arranged marriage since childhood. She could never have another boyfriend in this lifetime." Looking at her innocent face, I suddenly didn't know where to start. It seemed she really didn't know, and the idea that Xinyue and I would be together forever was deeply rooted in the minds of everyone who knew us. Just like back in the third year of high school when I stood on the classroom stage to clarify that Xinyue and I were just neighbors. None of my classmates believed me then either. I looked at her and said, "Sister Qingli, I'm not lying. Xinyue and I never even started. Song-hwai was our classmate. He's been with her since high school. They're both at Beijing University now, and she really likes him." She put down her chopsticks and stared into my eyes, as if confirming the truth of my words, as if what I was saying was sheer fantasy. But I really didn't want to talk about something that hurt so much. "Sister Qingli, let's not talk about this anymore, okay?" She just gave a gentle smile. "As long as you're happy. Let's go, class is starting soon. But Xiao-chen, remember, no matter what happens, I will be by your side." I was truly moved. She could always sensitively capture my emotional shifts. "Sister Qingli, why are you so good to me?" She paused, and for a moment, an unidentifiable emotion surged in her eyes before being quickly suppressed. She then gave a bright smile. "Our Hao-hun is so smart and handsome. Of course you deserve to be treated well." After the meal, she walked me to my classroom door and only turned to leave once she saw me sit down. Seeing me being personally escorted by the goddess of the research institute, several guys I knew crowded around to ask about our relationship. When they found out I was her brother, they treated me like their own kin, even asking if they were the type she liked, or if they had a chance to win her heart. With the critical eye of a responsible brother, I looked them over. This one's eyes were too small to tell if they were open or shut. That one's middle part hairstyle was totally out of touch with the times. Another one in overalls never let go of his basketball, clearly obsessed. After a look around, I announced publicly, "Not a single one of you is qualified." The boys retreated to their seats with broken hearts. One even stayed face down on his desk for the whole lecture. School soon let out, and despite my reluctance, I went to pick him up on time. Song-hwai looked at me and smiled. "Hao-chen, you really came to pick me up. You really are at Shen Xinyu's beck and call, aren't you?" "Great. I have quite a lot of luggage. Can you help me carry some?" He was as obnoxious as ever. If I weren't someone who kept my word, I'd have left him right there. I glared at him. "Did you not eat? You can't even carry this much luggage yourself?" With that, I turned and walked away. He watched me get into the car with a stone face, gritting his teeth before eventually loading the luggage into the trunk himself. I wondered, it's just a 1-month exchange. Was it really necessary to bring 3 oversized suitcases? Once in the car, he started nagging for no reason. "Hao-chen, you've been here over a year and you don't have your own car? You still have to call a taxi?" I looked at him, speechless. "If you don't want to ride, get out. No one invited you in." He looked aggrieved. "Hao-chen, you promised Shen Xinyue you'd take good care of me. Believe it or not, I'll tell her." I raised my phone, nearly shoving it in his face. "Is Shen Xinyue your mother? You have to tell her everything? Go ahead and tell her now." If your phone is dead, I can lend you mine. Losing face, his expression shifted between pale and dark, looking like he wanted to glare me to death. I hummed a tune happily the whole way, ignoring him. I loved seeing him unable to stand me, but unable to do anything about it. At the school gate, the 2 cars behind us also stopped. They were the other exchange students with him. After dropping him at the dorm, I was about to leave when he called me back. Zhang Haochen, I'm hungry. Treat us to hot pot. My classmates and I, 7 in total. We're not familiar with the place, so take us for a stroll. I was beyond speechless. This person was truly shameless. I glanced at him coldly. I'm broke. Goodbye. I turned and left. Seeing this, his classmates asked, Song Huai, didn't you say everything would be taken care of here? Why won't he even treat us to hot pot? The person your girlfriend found isn't a pauper, is he? He doesn't seem to care about you much. Or were you just bragging and he doesn't take you seriously at all? Vain and obsessed with appearances, Song Huai's face flushed with rage, his gentle facade completely gone. Zhang Haochen, if you don't treat us, I'll tell Shen Xinyue. I laughed. What grade are you in? Still love tattletelling? How many gold stars did she give you? Tell whoever you want. The onlookers were amused by my words and laughed openly at him. It turned out they were just plastic friends. Unable to take the humiliation, he actually pulled out his phone. Shen Xinyue answered quickly, and he put it on speaker so we could all hear. His voice was as gentle as ever. Yirei, I've arrived at the school. Her voice came through. What's wrong? Do you have a cold? Your voice sounds a bit hoarse. He shook his head. It's nothing. It's just that my classmates wanted hot pot, but Haochen. He looked at me hesitantly. I stepped forward and snatched the phone. Your boyfriend wants me to treat his whole class to hot pot. I don't have the money. You guys can keep humming along now. His mouth hung open in embarrassment. He probably didn't expect me to be so direct. Shen Xinyue fell silent. The onlookers waited for the drama to unfold. Finally, unable to bear the silence, he called out softly, Xinyue? Eventually, she transferred 500 yuan to me. I'll pay. Take them out. Song Huai cares about his pride. Don't make it hard for him. I didn't want to reply, but it felt worse not to, so I typed out, no time. I returned the money, told her to send it to him directly, and sent her the location of a hot pot restaurant. Then I clapped my hands and walked away. She called me several times that day, but I ignored them all. That night, as I was drifting off, she sent a message. Song Huai is a bit shy. Be patient with him. Sending that in the middle of the night wasn't an explanation. It was a reminder not to upset him. I didn't reply, letting her words drift away as I continued my peaceful life. Song Huai must have snapped or been genuinely hurt, as he actually didn't bother me for several days, which was a pleasant surprise. The draft for the competition was finally done, even better than I expected. Satisfied, I was about to show it to Sister Qingli when she called first. Sister Qingli, I was just about to call you. The draft is ready. Want to take a look? She smiled. Xiao Chen and I are truly on the same wavelength. I pursed my lips. Why does it feel like she's flirting a bit? She continued. Do you want to take a job? A really big one. My classmate's grandfather is having a golden wedding anniversary at the end of the year. She wants a picture book illustrating the decades they've been through together to give them on that day. Because the requirements are high and the time is tight, the pay is very good. I asked immediately, how high? She smiled. 150,000 yuan. I was shocked. That classmate was incredibly generous. But as an unknown college student, could I really meet those standards? I wasn't very confident. She quickly encouraged me. Believe in yourself. You'll do a brilliant job. She really had faith in me. I wondered why she didn't take such a lucrative offer herself. She continued, if you don't say anything, I'll take that as a yes. Focus on the competition first. Once it's over, you can dedicate yourself to this. The deadline is after New Year's, so there's no rush. Before hanging up, she called out, wait, weren't you going to show me your sketches? So on that crisp autumn night, I took my sketches to find Sister Qingli at the Research Institute. She was waiting for me in the first floor studio. I wore sneakers when I came over. No matter how far I walk, I won't get tired. More importantly, these shoes make no sound when I walk. The rose wall on the side of the Research Institute was as beautiful as ever. Strolling here at will made me feel particularly relaxed. Halfway through, I vaguely heard a faint, discordant sound coming from the side. The voice was actually quite familiar. I'm not a gossipy person, but that familiar voice made it impossible to suppress my curiosity. Following the sound, I quietly crept closer. In the center of the right side of the perimeter wall, there was a small, recessed flower gallery, at the end of which was a small, abandoned room, said to be the storage room for the Department of Agricultural Economics. Two people were hidden at the end of the corridor, holding each other tightly in a passionate kiss. By the dappled light, I finally saw the person clearly. A cold sweat broke out instantly. It really was Song Wai. I covered my mouth tightly, terrified that I might accidentally make a sound. After quickly running behind the main gate of the research institute, I still couldn't figure out the relationship between Song Wai and that girl. When did they hook up? If they just met, then Song Wai is truly charitable, turning no one away. But seeing the natural way they held each other, it was clearly the thirst of a long-awaited reunion. They looked like they had known each other for a long time. It seems Song Wai's exchange at Lin University has another purpose entirely. Does Shen Xinyu know? My heart felt heavy. I couldn't help but think of how much she liked him, the struggle she went through with Uncle and Auntie Shen to be with him, and her vow to marry no one but him. If the person seeing this today wasn't me, but the Shen Xinyue who trusted him so much, she would go crazy, wouldn't she? Song Wai is too greedy. Having Shen Xinyue wasn't enough. He had to keep two strings to his bow. Human hearts are truly unpredictable. What are you doing? Acting all sneaky? Shen Qingli's voice suddenly appeared behind me. Startled, I stepped forward, covered her mouth, and forcefully pushed her back into the building. Shen Qingli didn't know what was happening, but her eyes kept darting around, observing. Only after entering the studio did I release the hand I had placed over her mouth. Her pretty face flushed red, and a faint flame seemed to be flickering in the depths of her cool eyes. I only then realized how ambiguous our actions just now must have looked. I turned my head and quickly walked into the studio, carefully placing my sketches on the table to explain the design concept and the effects I wanted to the seniors there. Shen Qingli listened very seriously, her glass-like eyes lighting up. Little brother Xiao Chen, you really are a genius. How did you come up with such a wonderful concept? I grinned and tilted my head. She looked up at me, her eyes full of praise. This little handsome guy has been excellent since he was a child. By the time we finished discussing my work, it was nearly 11 p.m. Shen Qingli said she would walk me out, taking the path by the rose wall again. When we passed the flower gallery, I pretended to look around casually, searching for those wild mandarin ducks. But the place was already empty. Xiao Chen, you're acting like a thief tonight. Are you hiding something from me? I shook my head. Sister Qingli, have you seen Song Wai these past few days? She clasped her hands. Why would I see him? I don't have the spare time to entertain him. I let out an ah. He's your future brother-in-law after all. Should I bring him over to introduce you? She laughed and shook her head. I'll be busy enough looking after my own future husband. I have no interest in other people's husbands. I looked confused. Sister Qingli, where is your future husband? Do I know him? She snorted with a smile. You're extremely well acquainted. Hearing this, I perked up instantly. Sister Qingli, who is the person you like? It couldn't be one of my classmates, could it? But she just kept smiling without a word. All along the way, I used every means possible to force her to say the name of the person she liked. Adopting a spirit of death before surrender, she only had one sentence. You'll find out later. Finding out later is fine, too. At least I can still have her all to myself for a while. After returning, I tossed and turned in bed, unable to sleep. The scene I had witnessed felt like sitting on pins and needles. I wasn't sure if I should pretend I hadn't seen it and let Shen Xinyue continue her romantic dream, or tell her so she could clear the green pasture growing on her head as soon as possible. I thought for a long time without a conclusion, and eventually thought myself to sleep. Even when I woke the next morning, I still couldn't decide. This matter left me distracted for 2 days straight. I didn't even notice Shen Qingli standing in front of me for a long time. Student Hao Chen, what are you thinking about so deeply? Startled, I looked up. She was looking at me with a raised eyebrow and a smile on her lips. At that moment, a sudden spark of inspiration hit me. Seeing the light in my eyes, she backed up half a step with strong self-preservation, crossing her arms in a defensive posture. What are you doing? I leaned in toward her with a sly grin and whispered, Sister Qingli, do you know a private investigator? Introduce one to me. She grabbed my clothes to steady me directly in front of her, studying my eyes for a while. Once certain I wasn't joking, she spoke. Who do you want to investigate? I thought about it and said, a few exchange students from Beijing University came to our school last week. One of the guys looks familiar. I want to check who he is. She blinked. Is it really that simple? Left with no answer, I could only ask back. Otherwise? She took a stance that she wouldn't help if I didn't talk. Otherwise, I won't help. Tell the truth. What exactly do you want to do? I don't do things blindly. I weighed it back and forth and finally yielded, telling her the truth. I want to investigate Song Hui. I suspect something is wrong with him. After staring at me for a while, she said, Con, you're quite concerned about Shen Xinyue's business. I replied, shouldn't I be? Sister Qingli, this concerns your sister's life path. She looked at me seriously. Tell me the truth, what is actually going on? Her aura was surprisingly strong. I had no choice but to tell her what I had seen that night. After listening, her face, usually wearing a gentle smile, became cold as ice. So, are you doing this to catch Song Hui in a mistake so he and Shen Xinyue break up? I quickly shook my head in denial. Sister Qingli, where are you getting that idea? Even if she breaks up now, I won't have anything to do with her again. She observed me seriously for a while, and seeing I was telling the truth, her expression softened. Then why bother with so much? Haven't you been hurt enough? I shook my head. Sister Qingli, we grew up together after all. Even if we can't be a couple, I don't want her to be deceived. You're her biological sister. Would you really want your sister's head color to be so vibrant? Hearing this, she looked at me earnestly. I can help you, but you must promise me. You can never be this concerned about Shen Xinyue's affairs again. I nodded and held up one finger. One last time. She finally relaxed. Good boy, Xiaochen. She took me out for Malatang before heading back. I began to wait anxiously, hoping for definite news within a week. To my surprise, she was so efficient that she gave me the results by the following evening, saying she had found it. Soon, she and I were sitting in the corner of a rice noodle shop like spies meeting up. She placed a file folder in front of me and whispered, It's practically a soap opera. I couldn't help asking, have you read it? She nodded, her beautiful face calm and open, without a trace of anger about her own sister being cheated on. I took it and read it page by page. It turned out the female student was named Lin Muxue, and she and Song Hui had been classmates since childhood. Both being from North City's upper-class elite, their families were well matched. Having grown up together, they were a perfect match and had long ago agreed to attend the same university and marry after graduation. Unfortunately, Song Hui's father was arrested, and the Song family was scrubbed from North City's high society. Consequently, the Lin family immediately turned their backs, strictly ordering Lin Muxue to break off contact with Song Hui. Lin Muxue truly liked him though, and would rather clash with her family than give him up. Left with no choice, the Lin parents used certain means to force Song Hui and his mother out of North City. The pair of lovers was thus forcibly torn apart, and all contact between them was severed. They thought that was the end for this life, but unexpectedly, an exchange activity at Beijing University allowed these star-crossed lovers to reunite in the vast crowd. Within a few words, they were back in each other's arms. The two thin pages only mentioned the affairs between Lin Muxue and Song Hui. Not a word mentioned Shen Xinyue, yet every word spoke to the fact that she was being cheated on. I finished reading quickly, feeling a sense of irony. Honestly, I felt a bit of schadenfreude. After the initial amusement, I was still at a loss, completely unable to decide how to handle this. Sister Qingli, do you think we should tell Shen Xinyue? She looked up at me. Why are you so conflicted? Isn't it better to spend your time painting well? I rested my chin on my hand. She is your biological sister after all. It's one thing if you didn't know, but staying on the sidelines when you do, isn't that a bit unkind? She snorted and, after some thought, said, She's the blind one, treating trash like a treasure. She deserves it. Seeing I wanted to say more, she immediately interrupted. No buts. Song Hui's actions will come to light sooner or later. Let Shen Xinyue find out for herself. She's infatuated with that man right now and won't even listen to our parents. Why would she believe you or me? Us trying to help her would only damage our relationship with her. That was true, but I still felt something wasn't quite right. Given the distance between me and Shen Xinyue these past few years, she wouldn't believe me. She'd just think I was trying to drive a wedge between her and Song Hui. So I temporarily gave up the naive idea of informing her. However, for the sake of our childhood friendship, I still wanted to give her a hint. Lying in bed that night, I mulled it over for a long time before composing a message. I told her she should video call Song Hwai more often when she had the chance. Shen Xinyue was surprised by my sudden initiative. Messages came one after another, all trivial greetings and such. I replied a couple of times, got annoyed, turned off the phone, and went to sleep. The next day, when my mom called, I remembered the Song Hwai matter and told her. She was silent for quite a while after hearing it, then told me to just mind my own business and not interfere. My mom said Shen Xinyue wouldn't believe me. Instead, I'd be accused of having ulterior motives. Often, good intentions lead to bad outcomes. Since Sister Qingli and my mom shared the same view, I let go of the mental burden and threw myself completely into the competition work. After studying my concept, Shen Qingli decided to follow my idea. After nearly a week of refinement, we finalized the creative direction and prepared to start painting the next day. I've been studying painting for a long time and have participated in countless competitions, but a high-level competition with a team format like this was a first. I was excited and ready, determined to get a good ranking. Rummaging through my things, I pulled out all my paints only to realize I was missing a few types and needed to buy them immediately. There was a stationery shop at school, but it was already past closing time. There was a stationery supermarket on the street behind the school, with a very complete stock. Having nothing to do after dinner, I went there with my roommate, Lin Tian. Before we had gone far, we saw Song Hee and a woman standing in front of a small hotel, hugging regardless of others' gazes. It drew strange looks from many passers-by. I couldn't help but scoff. It's only a few steps. Can't you wait until you're inside to kiss? You have to perform in public at the door? Lin Tian stroked his chin like he was watching a play. Isn't that Lin Muksu from the finance department? I heard her family is quite rich, and a lot of guys like her. Those two are quite bold. I just saw them whispering in the restroom the day before yesterday, and today I run into them checking into a hotel. They're young and in good shape, I guess. Lin Tian is a typical northerner, straightforward and blunt, and he particularly despises these kinds of unhealthy trends. We entered the supermarket together. When we came out, my mind was a mess. I took a huge pile of things to the counter, but realized I'd forgotten the one thing I came for: the paints. Only when Lin Tian reminded me did I realize, and I hurriedly went back to pick them out. After returning to the dorm, I frantically sent a message to Shen Qingli. Sister Qingli, I just saw those two going to a hotel. Should we go catch him? She replied almost instantly. Traditional Chinese painting isn't for you. Transfer to the police academy. With her reminder, I suddenly understood. Song Hwai isn't even afraid of being caught while two-timing. So why am I, a bystander, hiding? The next day, Lin Tian and I went to the school cafeteria for lunch. As soon as we entered, we saw Song Hwai and Lin Muxue sitting together, eating. Since Sister Qingli returned, I had been dragged out to eat with her every day and rarely came to the cafeteria. But today she had to leave campus and wouldn't be back until evening, so I came with my roommate. Song Hwai's eyes were very sharp. Seeing me come over, he immediately moved away from Lin Muxi and waved at me as if nothing had happened. I couldn't be bothered with him and treated him like air. However, he had the nerve to approach me. How can Shen Xinyue specifically asked you to look after me? Is this how you do it? Not seeing you for days is one thing, but you don't even call. Poor Xinyue still treats you as a friend, yet you're the type to say one thing to someone's face and do another behind their back. I glared at him. Saying one thing and doing another? Some people really do put up a front of being devoted and faithful, while actually... I shrugged, leaving the sentence half finished. Hearing this, he dropped his chopsticks and questioned me loudly. What do you mean? Speak clearly. It was lunchtime, and many people in the restaurant looked over at the sound. I said coldly, don't you understand the literal meaning? I planned to just turn and leave, but after one step, I turned back. Standing in front of him, I delivered one more blow. By the way, have you heard the saying, unless you don't do it, people will eventually know? Don't be too arrogant. Perhaps out of guilt, his face turned deathly pale. He stared at me with panicked, unsteady eyes. I haven't done anything. Stop slandering me, I sneered. I haven't even said anything. Why such a strong reaction? One last piece of advice? Stay away from me. Don't mess with me. I turned and left. A few days later, Shen Xinyu called to tell me that due to some special reasons, Song Hwai's exchange was ending a week early. I could hear she was very happy. Actually, I was happy too. Out of sight, out of mind. I unconsciously compared her to Sister Qingli. When I was in trouble, Xinyue either didn't know or just threw the problem back at me. But Shen Qingli, whether intentionally or by chance, was always on my side helping me solve problems. She could be said to be the person who cares about me most, besides my parents. I completely monopolized her free time. Sometimes when she was too busy and we didn't meet for 2 or 3 days, I'd feel flustered, like something was missing. She seemed to know how I felt, and no matter how busy she was, she would squeeze in time to call me. Before he left, Songhuai came to find me. He hung his head, looking very sad as he tried to protest his innocence. I knew his character too well and didn't even want to look at him. I told him directly, "If you have something to say it. Don't pull this with me. I'm not Xinyue. Even if you died in front of me, I wouldn't feel a bit of pity." With a look of grievance, he lied through his teeth. "Lin Muxue is just a fellow villager. There's nothing between us. Hao Chen, don't overthink it." I thought about the matter between him and Lin Muxu. Telling Xin Qinyu would only be a thankless task. So in the end, I just warned him to treat her well when he got back. After seeing him onto the plane, I sent a photo to Shen Jinyue, telling her he had returned in one piece. She very politely sent me a thank you. I could feel her joy in her voice. I hope she can still smile when she finds out the truth. In the blink of an eye, the National Day holiday arrived. Most students were like swallows, returning to their nests, carrying luggage home, while others went traveling in groups. I had originally told my parents I wouldn't be back and planned to go see the red leaves at Fragrant Hills with my roommate. My travel bag was already packed, but Chen Qingli suddenly told me the competition time had been moved up. We had to finish everything by the 4th. To prove the truth of it, she even brought Professor Xia to testify for her. So I was hauled back to the studio by her to do the miserable final finishing work. With my trip canceled, I couldn't get my spirits up for anything. In her words, I spent several days looking bitter and hateful with a pout. Not a single smile. Most teachers and students had left, so there weren't many people around. She spent the day either making sure I ate or reminding me to put my heart into the painting. I agreed on the surface, but sighed inwardly. My National Day holiday. Just like that, it's gone. On the night of the 3rd, I worked until 9 p.m. and was so sleepy I said I'd finish it tomorrow. She wouldn't hear of it and dragged me to finish the last little bit. After 2 more hours of work, I finally made it back to the dorm. Having worked day and night for 3 days, I fell asleep the second my head hit the pillow. I dreamed of my roommate Lin Tian sitting in a roast duck restaurant, smiling as he showed off photos he took at Fragrant Hills. I was so angry I wanted to reach through the dream and punch him. I thought I could sleep in since there was nothing left to do. But the phone started screaming just as the sky was beginning to brighten. Thinking it was my mom, I answered groggily and said, "Mom." There was a moment of silence on the other end, followed by a light laugh that made my ears tingle. I woke up instantly and looked at the screen. Shen Qingli was laughing like an enchantress. Seeing this, I mumbled wordlessly, "It's a holiday, and I've finished the work. What are you bothering me so early for?" She laughed even harder, her eyes sparkling. "Stop sleeping. I'm taking you out to play." I sighed. "I want to sleep right now." She patiently told me how beautiful the scenery was there, how many painters struggled just to go there for inspiration. She said once I went, I'd probably never want to leave. Her sweet voice was very alluring. She wasn't just a master of painting, she was also a pro at brainwashing. By the end of it, I felt like not going would be one of the greatest regrets of my life. Thus, successfully conquered by her sweet talk, I stepped out of the dorm with my backpack. She was standing under a cherry blossom tree, waiting for me quietly with a tender, lingering smile and eyes full of gentleness. The borrowed sunlight filtered through the blossoms onto her, looking like a person from a painting had stepped into reality. She was so beautiful, it made my heart flutter. By the time I regained my senses, I was already in the car. She placed a bag in my hand. "It was too early to take you for breakfast, so I bought this on the way. It'll have to do." I opened it to find shrimp dumplings and multigrain porridge from my favorite place. That shop is quite far from the university. The sky was just turning light, so how early must she have gotten up? I caught a glimpse of her and thought her face was truly beautiful. I often found it hard to look away. We talked and laughed the whole way. the atmosphere light and pleasant. I thought she would tell me where we were going so I could make a travel guide and have a blast for these 4 days. But she was mysterious. No matter what I said, she wouldn't tell me, only saying I'd know when we got there and that I'd definitely love it. After crossing a mountain and several bridges, we finally reached our destination. Located in the hills of the Changbai Mountains, it was an ecological zone with large tracts of primeval forest, rich vegetation, green hills, clear waters, and blue skies. Just like when we were children, she held my hand as we strolled along the mountain paths. She told me about folk painting masters I'd never heard of, shared her unique understanding of traditional painting, and spoke of the paths she had led me on when we were kids. We were like travelers in a painting. I looked at her and asked, "Sister Qingli, it's so beautiful here. How did you find it?" She gave a slight smile. "There's even more beauty ahead. Want to go see?" When the car stopped in front of a small village, I was once again dumbfounded. "Sister Qingli, where is this? It's more beautiful than a painting." I stared blankly at everything, feeling my hands itch to start drawing. She laughed. "Want to paint? Let's eat first. In a while, we'll paint the sunset." She found a homestay with practiced ease. The host heard the car and came out to greet us warmly. Dinner was typical northern farm food, and it tasted exceptionally good. I ate so much I could hardly walk. While she laughed at me, she led me around the village to help me digest. That evening, when she opened the trunk, the completeness of the equipment shocked me. She had actually brought a full set of painting tools. Facing the brilliant sunset, she took them out and set them up one by one. Then she pressed me down into the seat before the easel and placed a brush in my palm. "I'll accompany you while you paint." I painted for 4 full hours without moving. The sunset faded, the moon rose, and the lights at the 4 corners of the courtyard were turned on to provide us with illumination. Yet, despite racking my brains, I still couldn't capture the staggering beauty. Fine brushwork focuses on detail. After 4 hours, I had only sketched a rough outline. I was painting the stream we had personally visited that afternoon, with the distant mountains, maple leaves, and even the grass by the water, but I still felt something was missing. I couldn't express the spirit I wanted. After thinking for a long time, I took the brush and drew quickly. Soon, by a white round stone, there was a long-haired girl in a white dress. She was standing barefoot in the stream, playfully teasing the little fish in the water, the splashes wetting her long skirt. The originally tranquil painting became instantly vivid and alive with the addition of the girl. Beside me, Shen Qingli blinked her large eyes innocently. "This is too beautiful. Xiao Chen, are you painting me?" I looked at the painting, my gaze gradually filling with deep affection, an uncontrollable surge of emotion washing over me. Because of Sister Qingli's presence, the mountains, rivers, and maple scenery all paled in comparison. Even using all the skill I possessed, the person I painted didn't capture even a tenth of the Sister Qingli in my heart. She is the most beautiful scenery in the world. When I finally snapped out of it, I realized I had said something incredibly cheesy. Feeling a bit awkward, I turned my head and met Shen Qingli's eyes, which were as soft as water. Her cheeks were flushed red as she stared at me without moving. She felt her heart thumping wildly. When did her little brother Xiao Chen become so romantic? His words were like poetry, so beautiful she could die. For the next 2 days, Shen Qingli and I visited every corner of the area, etching all the lush, magnificent views into our memories. I took many photos as well. Once I get back, I intend to use my brush to depict these scenes I can't get enough of one by one, turning them into something eternal. The road back seemed much shorter. Shen Qingli and I went to the Research Institute office to let Professor Xia look over our final sketches. Professor Xia nodded, very satisfied with our final draft. Only then did we submit it to the competition organizers. I felt the burden on my shoulders lighten significantly and began focusing on the album for the Golden Wedding elderly couple. I thought it would be done in the traditional Chinese style, but after inquiring, I found out they wanted colored pencils. To be honest, I've specialized in traditional Chinese painting since I was a child. I've touched on sketching, but never practiced it seriously, and I've never used colored pencils. However, I've always had a competitive spirit. Sister Qingli recommended a course to me. I learned as I drew, and gradually I began to enjoy it. The drawing became smoother and smoother. Without realizing it, a semester passed quickly. It was late December, and the weather turned very cold. Students had all changed into thicker, padded coats. She sent a WeChat message asking me to come downstairs, saying she had something important to tell me. I threw on a thick coat, stuffed my phone in my pocket, and ran out. Light snow had fallen that morning, and pure white snowflakes hung from the tree branches. Shen Qingli stood under a tree waving at me, her face glowing with irrepressible excitement, as if something wonderful had happened. I jogged over and asked, "Sister Qingli, are the competition results out?" She nodded, her eyes sparkling. "Xiao Chen, guess what place we got?" I tentatively offered a guess. "It couldn't be first place, could it?" She stepped forward and hugged me gently. "Of course it's first place. Our Xiao Chen is the best in the world." Shen Qingli and I chatted happily and self-forgetfully in the campus that had just seen its first snow. We drew many envious glances from passers-by. Previously, I wanted to share everything with Shen Xinyue, but that day, when I won first place in the major competition, I didn't think of her at all. To celebrate our victory, Shen Qingli treated my entire dorm and a few of her close friends to dinner. By the end, my roommates and I were a bit tipsy, walking with our arms around each other's shoulders in the quiet night, belting out out-of-tune songs at the top of our lungs. Shen Qingli hadn't drunk much and was still sober as she walked me to the dormitory entrance. She watched me go inside before turning to leave. Going up the stairs, Lin Tian said drunkenly, "Brother Chen, I see the way that Senior Qingli looks at you. It's not right. What are your actual intentions? Whether it's a go or not, don't just keep her hanging. She's the goddess in the hearts of every guy at Lin University. Don't miss out." I've explained it 100 times. That's my sister Qingli, the sister who has doted on me since I was little. In her mind, the roles of big sister and little brother were deeply rooted. I was tired of explaining. If others weren't sick of hearing it, I was sick of saying it. I just pretended not to hear him. Frustrated, Lin Tan nudged me with his elbow. "Just keep being oblivious. With your emotional intelligence, I really feel bad for the goddess." Laughing and joking, as we reached the 4th floor, they brought the topic back to me again. They unanimously agreed that Shen Qingli likes me, and told me to cherish her and claim her quickly. I had no energy to explain, so I just played dead and went to sleep. I thought I'd be going home alone for winter break, but to my surprise, the morning I stepped out of the dorm, I saw Shen Qingli waiting under a tree with her suitcase. She said she hadn't been back in nearly 2 years, and her family asked her to return for New Year's. I said with a look of joy, "Sister Qingli, why didn't you tell me in advance?" She smiled faintly. "Didn't I want to give you a surprise?" Well, it certainly was a surprise. With her along, the trip home was much more comfortable, and it felt like we arrived at the Jiang family home in no time. I stepped forward and knocked. When my mom opened the door and saw me back with Shen Qingli, she was stunned for a moment. Then she greeted her happily. "Qingli is back. I haven't seen you in so long. You're even prettier than before. Did Zhao Chen cause you a lot of trouble at school?" While taking my luggage, my mom warmly invited her inside. How could he? Xiao Chen is very sensible, not a bit of trouble. After chatting with my mom for a bit, Shen Qingli turned and knocked on her own door. Within 2 seconds, my ears were ringing from Auntie Shen's scream of joy. My mom smiled, covering her lips. "Look how happy your aunt is." Shen Qingli's return was completely unexpected for Uncle and Auntie Shen. Even Shen Xinyue was surprised. Her break started earlier than ours, but she was supposed to return a day later. On the day Shen Xinyue returned, Uncle and Auntie specially organized a gathering, saying it had been 2 years, and their dinners were always missing Shen Qingli. This time, the two families had to have a reunion dinner together. They wanted Shen Jinya to go straight to the restaurant from her flight, and everyone would return together afterward. This so-called reunion dinner had everyone present, but it didn't go as well as expected. Song Huai came along with Shen Xinyue. This caught everyone off guard. With 8 people from the two families sitting around the table, the atmosphere became extremely awkward. When my parents saw Shen Xinyue and Song Huai, their smiles faded instantly. They gave a polite greeting and didn't say much else to them. Uncle and Auntie Shen looked very upset. Auntie Shen, in particular, kept glancing at me and my mom, her embarrassment and annoyance impossible to hide. I admit, even now, 2 years later, I'm fine if I don't see her, but the moment I see those eyes I once adored so foolishly, there are still some indescribable emotions in my heart. Sitting beside me, Shen Qingli keenly noticed the change in everyone's mood and saw my slightly pained expression at their joint appearance. She quietly took my cold hand by the fingertips, startling me back to reality. Then I heard her pleasant, mature voice. "If you're unhappy, don't force it. Want to go for a walk outside? I smiled, turned my head to her, and shook my head slightly. I'm fine. The food was soon served. Uncle Shen encouraged everyone to start eating, and everyone complied. The 4 elders ate in silence, each with a different expression. Shen Xinyue broke the silence by placing a piece of food in Song Huai's bowl. Song Huai, the fish head here is delicious. Try some. She mentioned a fish head but gave him broccoli. It seemed she wasn't as calm as she appeared on the surface. Song Huai didn't eat the food in his bowl but stared at Shen Qingli. Shen Yue, is this Shen Qingli? Her hand paused. She glanced at Shen Qingli and said, yes, this is my sister. She's a graduate student at Lin University, the same university Hao Chen attends. Hao Chen? Song Huai went to Lin University for an exchange. Didn't you take him to see Shen Qingli? My heart skipped a beat. The tea I just sipped felt stuck in my throat. Here she goes again, indiscriminate accusations. Just as I was about to retort, Shen Qingli pressed her hand over mine on my lap and spoke coldly. Song Huai, is it? Why would Hao Chen bring him to see me? Any old cat or dog wants to see me? Sorry, I don't have the time. Song Hui's intention was likely to build rapport with the Shen family, but he hadn't expected her to shut him down so completely. He was visibly stunned. Seeing his effort to endure it, Shen Xinyue was heartbroken. She slammed her chopsticks onto the table. Sister, how can you say that? Song Huai is my boyfriend, not some irrelevant cat or dog. Shen Qingli snorted. Since he's your boyfriend, he's a junior. He went to Lin University and didn't even say hello to me. Does he not respect me as your sister? This was a heavy accusation. Shen Xinyue clearly knew she couldn't take on the whole family alone. After weighing it, she backed down first. She protectively took Song Huai's hand and said, Song Huai, let me officially introduce you. This is my sister, Shen Qingli. Sister, I'm sorry. It's my fault. Don't blame Song Huai. Shen Qingli glanced at him out of the corner of her eye, threw down her napkin and said, I heard there's a fuckboy lit Sea King in North City named Song Huai. I wonder if it's the same name. Hearing this, Song Huai's face changed instantly. My parents pretended not to hear the conversation, whispering to each other about whether broccoli should have minced garlic. Uncle and Auntie Shen remained silent with dark expressions. While the sisters were in a silent standoff, I lowered my head and ate quietly. This meal was truly exhausting. While I was lost in thought, Song Huai suddenly looked at me, his gaze sharp as a knife and filled with heavy resentment. It didn't take much thinking to realize he must think I was the one who told Shen Qingli about his cheating. But I had never tattled. Still, it made sense for him to suspect me. I was the only one who knew about his business at Lin University. The atmosphere at the table was stifling and uncomfortable. Had I known, I wouldn't have come. It was quite pointless. After greeting both sets of parents, I went out. I don't know what happened after I left, but in short, this reunion dinner ended on a sour note again. After getting home, my mom and dad kept whispering to one side, avoiding me as if they were afraid I'd hear. For the past few years, Shen Xinyue and I basically haven't contacted each other unless necessary. I had zero interest in prying into what happened at the table, and it wouldn't affect me. In other words, I didn't want to waste my breath on irrelevant people. Though watching my parents try to hide things from me was quite amusing. Over the next few days, Kei-Jen and Liu Yu also arrived home, and we made plans to hang out every day. Later, I heard from Sister Qingli that Song Huai was going to spend New Year's with Shen Xinyue. That day, after Song Huai was forced to leave midway, she made a huge scene until she said he should come to their home for New Year's. But Uncle and Auntie didn't like him at all and strongly refused. To fight for his status in the family, she even went as far as a hunger strike. They had no choice but to yield. When I spoke to my mom about this, I expressed that I didn't want to spend New Year's with the Shens anymore. Once a year during the holidays, everyone wants good luck. It's not worth letting a smelly fish ruin the whole pot of soup. I must state formally, my dislike for Song Huai is absolutely not because of his relationship with Shen Xinyue. I simply cannot accept his behavior. My mom said they hadn't planned on spending it together this year anyway. They just hadn't found a reason to decline yet. My dad, as the head of the house, perfectly utilized his wit at the critical moment. With a wave of his hand, he decided the whole family would go to High City to travel for the new year. He took our 3 IDs and booked 3 tickets. We set off on the 28th of the lunar month. Sister Qingli saw us off at the airport. Spending New Year's away for the first time felt quite novel. On New Year's Eve, I stood by the hotel's floor-to-ceiling window, looking at the city lights and the brilliant fireworks rising in the sky. My heart was exceptionally peaceful. A video call suddenly rang. I didn't need to guess. I knew it was Sister Qingli. She looked a bit unhappy in the video. She sat at a table, leaning back in her chair, holding the phone to chat with me. She wished me a happy new year and asked for my New Year's resolution. I said I wanted everyone to be happy, to hear a live concert, for her to get even prettier, and to earn more money through my own skills to make my parents happy. She praised me with a laugh and told me to come back quickly. She said Songwei comes over every day and is driving her crazy. She said if our family didn't open our door soon, she was going to wander the streets. She also complained that she finally came back for New Year's, but we went on a trip, leaving the neighborhood cold and lonely. She said if she'd known, she wouldn't have come back. She rambled on for a full hour until I promised to return as soon as possible. Under her daily urging, my parents and I returned home on the 8th of the first lunar month. When I woke up the next afternoon, the sky had turned dark and laughter was coming from the living room. When I walked out, I saw that Sister Qingli was still impossibly beautiful after 10 days. Seeing me, her eyes brightened even more. After she went home, my mom whispered jokingly to my dad that Qingli had seemed a bit distracted, but her eyes lit up the moment I came out. I'm afraid this girl has some other thoughts about our son. My dad always indulges my mom. Whether she's right or wrong, he supports her. Hearing what my mom said, he nodded solemnly and whispered something I couldn't hear while hovering by the door. Compared to my parents' view, I was dismissive. That was Sister Qingli, who had been good to me since I was a child. How could the things they were thinking happen? That night, she ate dinner at our house. Strictly speaking, she cooked the meal and then ate with us. It was my first time eating a meal she'd cooked personally, and it was actually very good. After dinner, we went out to see the night views. There happened to be a performance in front of a large mall. We arrived late and stood on the very outer edge. We couldn't see clearly what was happening on stage, but it was enough to be happy. During the climax, I screamed at the top of my lungs like everyone else. "Do you like it?" she shouted into my ear. "I like it. I love it." She suddenly grabbed my hand and pulled me into the crowd, squeezing all the way to a spot very close to the stage. She was looking at me tenderly. I didn't know if it was an illusion, but her gaze seemed to be getting softer and softer. Sometimes I would mistake that look for love. But she's my Sister Qingli. I must be seeing things. Years ago, Shen Xinyu called me shameless, and only then did I realize she only saw me as a neighbor's younger brother. I was scolded so badly because I misunderstood her feelings. Now that I'm older, I know I can never bear being called shameless again, so I don't dare guess, and I don't dare believe. If being the neighbor's little brother is the only way to never get hurt again, then so be it. When we got back, it was past 10 p.m. Standing by the building entrance wall was Shen Qinyue. It was a corner with no light. No one would notice someone standing there without looking closely. Hidden in the darkness, her face was unreadable. "Why are you back so late? Don't you know Auntie would be worried?" she asked softly. Beside me, Sister Qingli raised an eyebrow. Before I could say anything, she spoke gently. "Why? Are you worried Hao Qin will be abandoned again? Not everyone is as irresponsible as you." Shen Xinyu looked at her, then at me, and finally turned to go back first without saying a word. It might have been an illusion, but her back looked a bit lonely. By the time I finished washing up and lay in bed, it was almost midnight. As I was about to sleep, she sent a voice message. It was over 10 seconds long, but I deleted it without listening and proceeded to block her on WeChat. On the 10th of the first month, she came to my house looking for me. Out of politeness, I had to let her in. She lay directly on the sofa. Looking at her, I remembered the scene of Songhui and Lin Muxue kissing in the flower gallery. I looked at her with pity, feeling her devotion was not worth it. Over the years, I saw with my own eyes that she was truly good to him, giving him her heart and soul, even going against her parents for him. I wanted so much to tell her everything I saw. No matter how she had hurt me before, we were still partners who grew up together. I didn't want to see her being fooled, but I didn't dare speak, because she never believed me. Perhaps my gaze was too intense as she raised her hand to cover my eyes, not letting me look at her, then pouted and asked to take me out for a meal. I refused without hesitation. "Shen Xinyu, you have a boyfriend now. Songhwai was already wary of me. We should keep our distance. I don't want him to misunderstand anything. She looked at me resentfully. Hao Chen, you weren't like this before. We grew up together. Except for sleeping and going to the bathroom, you were always behind me. Why are you so distant now? I smiled calmly. This was your choice. There is no before anymore. She was stunned and didn't speak again, quietly getting up and leaving my house. I watched her leave, calm and composed, without any emotional ups and downs. I think I've completely drawn a clear line with her. We really are just neighbors now. The next day, when I went out with Liu Yu, we ran into Songhwai and Lin Muxue again. His boldness really impressed me. Wow, this Songhwai really has guts. Isn't he afraid of running into Shen Xinyue? Liu Yu, do you think I should help Shen Xinyue? No, in what capacity would you help her? If you help her, will she believe you? Hao Chen, you finally managed to move on. Don't get involved again. Just live your own life. Fine, I won't. Everyone's view is consistent, which means there's something wrong with my thinking. The 15th of the first month is a traditional big day, and also my birthday. My dad booked that restaurant we went to last time a day in advance. I strongly requested it because I like the tea and the backyard layout, to celebrate my 20th birthday. The daytime plan was set 2 days in advance. Just as I was about to head out with Liu Yu and Kei Zhen, I saw 2 figures standing by the door. Sister Qingli looked displeased, and Shen Xinyue had a blank expression. What was the situation? She had asked me 2 days ago how I planned to spend my birthday. I said I'd go to the amusement park with classmates and then have dinner. She said she happened to have nothing to do and could join us, and that she'd treat me for my birthday at noon. Meeting her at the door was normal, but not Shen Xinyue. For 3 or 4 years, I've had no interaction with her at all. Given her dislike for me, there was no way she'd remember my birthday. But seeing her casual dress and the fact she was with Sister Qingli, she obviously intended to come with us. I looked around nervously. If she was going, Songhwai would go too, right? That man is full of schemes. Too annoying. I didn't want to spend my birthday watching out for him. I prefer simple fun. Just thinking about his potential antics gave me a headache. Even my birthday didn't feel sweet anymore. Is the birthday boy ready? Let's go then. I've warmed up the car. Sister Qingli was about to lead me away. Is Shen Xinyue going too? I asked her. I didn't invite her. Her face darkened at those words. Only me? Songhwai went back to his hometown to worship his ancestors and hasn't returned yet, she explained quickly, obviously understanding my point. It seemed she was determined to go. Fine, so be it. At worst, I'll just stay far away from her while we play. The car stopped in front of the amusement park, and we met up with the others who had arrived, all high school classmates, guys and girls, who got along well. Though we went our separate ways for college, we stayed in touch. If it weren't for my family trip during New Year's, we would have met up earlier. If there's any pure emotion in this world, I think it's youthful classmate bonds. We got out of the car first. While Sister Qingli went to find a parking spot, I walked between Kei Zhen and Liu Yu. Shen Xinyue walked on my left, less than 2 steps away. She sat quietly the whole way, basically not speaking, occasionally checking her phone. She was so silent she was almost non-existent. Even now, walking beside me, she was as quiet as a breeze. There, but not there. As soon as we appeared, someone started teasing, "Yo, the lovebirds are flying together. Have you decided when to land and build a nest? Watch your mouth, or a ghost might get you later." Liu Yu nearly poked the girl's forehead with his finger. The speaker was Li Wenying. She was a bit chubby in school and always failed her PE exams, often being singled out by the teacher to lose weight. Once she was even scolded into tears, but she had a very cheerful personality and would be smiling again in a second. Everyone liked her. Classmates said she liked me, and some even claimed she wrote me a 7-page love letter, but I never received it. I just treated those words as a joke. After 3 years, she had actually shed the weight and turned into a great beauty. Purely on looks, she was no less than Shen Xinyue. Only her mouth was still just as cheeky. "What's it to you? You're too idle." Shen Xinyue glanced at Li Wenying, her tall figure looking a bit desolate in the cold wind. "Yo, Xinyue, playing the cold and aloof type? I heard the love letter I spent so much effort writing to Hao Chen back then was kept by you. If it doesn't have any appreciation value, can you return it to me? Keeping it with you might affect my progress in finding a husband. I don't want people to misunderstand that I, Li Wenying, write love letters to boys." Shen Xinyue's face changed instantly. Li Wanying's boldness in saying it publicly meant she really had written a letter back then. Shen Xinyue's face turned so red, it looked like it was about to bleed. Her gaze swept over Li Wanying, paused on me, and then she turned away from everyone. I was afraid messy things would affect your studies, so I kept it for you. If you want it, I'll return it to you when we get back. At this, Li Wanying exploded. Shen Xinyue, you look decent, but how come you can't speak human words? A dog's mouth can't spit out ivory. Who knows? Shen Xinyue wasn't to be outdone and argued coldly. The two of them argued more and more intensely. The more I listened, the more it felt wrong. She had actually intercepted someone else's love letter to me? She doesn't even like me, so why keep those things? Surely not to practice her reading comprehension. I looked at her and spoke wordlessly. So you intercepted more than one or two? Shen Xinyue, what right do you have to take my things? During my junior and senior years, I really did receive many love letters, but I never read a single one because my heart and eyes were only on her. No matter how good other girls were, they couldn't enter my heart. But that didn't mean she had the right to handle letters written to me. It was intentional concealment and prying, as well as disrespect to the sender. While I was in a standoff with her, Sister Qingli finished parking and hurried over, asking in a low voice what had happened. I told her, and she gave her sister a look of disappointment. Then she smiled at me. All right, birthday boy, today is your birthday. Don't be angry over things that have already passed. I didn't want to disrespect Sister Qingli or make everyone unhappy, so I reluctantly agreed. We played until past 2 p.m. before everyone went their separate ways, still chattering about how fun it was and how we should hang out again. Everyone left except Li Wanying, who stood by her car, clearly waiting for me. I'd heard in high school that her family was well off with resources and background. Seeing her now, she was indeed doing well. The Ferrari behind her made that clear. What are you looking at? Get in. Sister Qingli stood beside me, staring at her with displeasure. I smiled and said, she might have something to say to me. HMPH, up to no good, she muttered unhappily, looking like a child who didn't get any candy. It was actually quite cute. I nudged her to get in the car and wait for me, then turned toward Li Wanying. She had been secretly observing the movement on my side. Seeing me walk toward her, she immediately straightened up and even adjusted her skirt solemnly. A snort came from behind me. I looked back. Sister Qingli looked very disgruntled. I smiled at her. Hao Chen, Sai, I had a stomach full of things to say to you, but seeing Shen Xinyue, I couldn't control myself and ruined your birthday. I'm sorry. It's nothing. It's in the past. We're all classmates. No need to be so polite. Zhang Haochen. Her expression turned serious as she called my full name. Her eyes held many emotions, so complex I couldn't read them. I'm leaving, and I won't be coming back. After liking you for so many years, I couldn't even get you to look at me properly. I guess we just weren't meant to be. During those 3 years of high school, I wrote you 11 letters. Everyone was my heart, but everyone sank into the ocean without a trace. You were good to me during those 3 years. Others found me fat and didn't want to play with me. But only you were always smiling and never looked down on me. I wrote my feelings in long letters and asked Shen Xinyue to bring them to you. You never gave me any response, not even a rejection. It was like nothing had happened. At that time, I was quite grateful to you. I thought you were worried that rejecting me would make me sad, so you didn't say anything to save my face. It wasn't until I came back for this winter break that I found out by chance all those letters were intercepted by her. She told others I wasn't worthy of writing to you, that I was a toad wanting to eat swan meat. All our classmates knew your feelings for her, and I knew that someone as wonderful as you was beyond me. But I liked you too much. So much that every letter in a math problem turned into your smiling face. That's why I gathered the courage to write you one letter after another. I was quite stunned. That chubby girl who was always smiling actually liked me for so many years. Perhaps my shock amused her. She curled her lips. I was furious when I found out the reason and wanted to confront her several times, but so many years have passed. It's pointless to bring it up again. I haven't been back much, and even when I do, I rarely chat with everyone for long. It wasn't until yesterday that I found out you and Shen Xinyue didn't end up together. Actually, when I came, I kept telling myself not to be impulsive and did so much mental preparation. But the moment I saw her, I couldn't help it. If you hadn't been there, I really would have hit her. Hitting people is bad. I didn't know what the right thing to say was in this situation, I thought for a long time before stammering out a few words. One person liked me for years, and the other I had liked for years. Dealing with these two people made it really hard to find the right conversational rhythm. Hao-chen, I'm not saying this because I'm some random person. If you and Shen Xinye liked each other and were together, I probably would have just let all of this go like the wind. But she actually hurt you for a man like Song Wai. How can I stand that? It's a real shame I didn't give her a beating. So that was it. I lowered my head and looked closely at the girl in front of me. She was looking back at me softly. The anger in her clear eyes had dissipated, leaving them as transparent as a mountain stream. Li Wanying, I really didn't know about those things back then. I wasted your feelings. I'm truly sorry. Hao-chen, I stayed behind specifically to explain all this to you, not to make you feel guilty. I'm leaving tomorrow, and it might be hard to see each other again. You are my only concern left in Nancheng. Hao-chen, you must be well and be happy every day. Shen Xinye isn't worth it, but you will definitely find someone who loves you most. I wish you happiness. Li Wanying, you too. The world is so big, and there are so many people. You will definitely find a boy who you like, and who likes you back. You must be happy too. I had been classmates with Li Wanying since the 9th grade. I treated her as a very good friend, but I never knew she had been silently liking me all those years. Though, even if I had seen those letters, I wouldn't have said yes. Still, I would have cherished and safely stored her feelings, never letting her suffer alone for so many years. The chubby girl in my memories and the beauty before me, time had changed their appearance. But it hadn't changed her heart. No matter what happens later, even if we really never meet again, she will always be that girl with the limp short hair and the chubby face in my heart. She is my good friend. I'm very glad I got to tell you this. I'm really happy. All right, I won't say more. Your sister Qingli is staring a hole through me. I don't want to waste any more of your time. Goodbye, Hao-chen. Goodbye, Li Wenying. I waved farewell. Perhaps this goodbye is forever, but I will remember you. She turned to open the car door, but suddenly paused. She looked back halfway. Hao-chen, will we have another chance to meet? Her voice trembled, and her clear eyes were filled with tears. Where in life do we not meet again? She shook her head, got into the car, and rolled down the window. She waved goodbye and quickly vanished from my sight. She fled. She was crying. I stared in the direction she disappeared for a long, long time. I felt that we wouldn't just part like this forever. Even if we truly never have the chance to meet again in this life, I will always remember that in my green youth, there was a little chubby girl who wrote me 11 love letters and loved me with all her heart. Get in the car, stand there any longer, and you'll turn into a waiting for wife stone. Sister Qingli walked over with a dark face and pulled my arm. When I was talking to Li Wenying, she was no more than 10 steps away, close enough to hear everything clearly. But that was a matter between Wenying and me. Sister Qingli, why are you acting like a jealous wife? You sound so sour. Are you coming or not? Auntie Jiang just called to rush us. Shen Xinyue leaned halfway out of the car window and shouted. I didn't bother responding to her. I just opened the back door and got in. The next morning, I woke up well-rested. Without even eating breakfast, I went across the hall to bang on the door. Shen Xinye opened it. I went in and saw Sister Qingli's door ajar, though I wasn't sure if she was home. Shen Xinye, give me back my letters. I stood at the edge of her sofa. She looked up at me. So much time has passed. What use do you have for them? Hao-chen, aren't you to Li Wenying? I felt a sudden surge of irritability. How I feel about Li Wenying is my business and has nothing to do with you. Don't talk nonsense, just give me the letters. I have other things to do. I don't have time to waste with you. Her eyes darkened. She stared at me for a long time on the sofa before getting up to go into her room. She brought out a pink rectangular box and placed it on the coffee table. They're all here. I gave her a glare, picked up the box and opened it. Inside was a stack of letters addressed to Hao-chen. I opened one. The signature was Li Wenying. She had even drawn some chubby cartoon characters, very realistic. The style matched her personality back then. I carried the small box back home and took out the letter I just opened. I was about to read it when someone knocked urgently. Looking through the peephole, it was actually Sister Qingli. That meant while I was arguing with her sister just now, she was actually home. Why didn't she pop out and help me say something? It would have saved me the trouble of bickering with Shen Jinye. Seriously, she doesn't appear when I need her. But now that I'm about to enjoy the happiness of reading love letters, she comes to sabotage it. Thoughts aside, since she was here, I had to open the door obediently. Sister Qingli, is something wrong? I blocked the doorway, not really wanting her to enter. She didn't answer. She pulled me aside and strolled into the room, sitting right where I had been. She picked up a letter and started reading. Hello, classmate Hao Chen. You are like the skies. If you're going to read, just read. Why do you have to read it out loud? I lunged over, covering her annoying mouth with one hand and snatching the papers with the other. I put them back in the box and asked with a dry laugh, Sister Qingli, do you want some water? No, those were all written to you by Li Wanying? She pulled my hand away, her eyes still glaring at the box. I guess so. I haven't had time to look at the rest. So many years have passed. Why did you want them back? Do you actually have feelings for her? She raised an eyebrow. Her tone matched her gaze, both eyes scanning my face like searchlights. Sister Qingli, there's something wrong with how you put that. Whether I have feelings for her is one thing, but my things should be returned to their owner, right? What's the point of them sitting with someone else? Even if it's something I don't want, I should be the one to discard it. Since when was it Shen Jinyu's turn to meddle? Forget it. I'm heading out anyway. I'll just throw them away for you to save you a trip. I'm running late. I'm off. Bye. Without even asking for my opinion, Sister Qingli grabbed that fairly nice pink box with one hand and took away all the letters I hadn't read yet. I wanted to lung forward and grab it back, but one look from her stopped me in my tracks. I stared at her hand, which looked particularly unpleasant at that moment, until the faint sound of the door closing reached me. I felt like I'd been played. The love letters I'd just recovered after 3 or 4 years. I only read 2 lines of one before Sister Qingli kindly helped me throw them away. Actually, I had thought about resisting. What if I'd run to stop her and snatched my things back? Winter break passed quickly, and I returned to the north with Sister Qingli. During the first semester of my senior year, my dad had a small heart issue and was hospitalized for nearly a month. My mom almost fainted from crying. I was at my busiest right before my internship, so I didn't have time to go back and see him. Every day, I could only see him lying in the hospital bed through video calls. I was so sad I didn't even have the strength to walk. My mom was suffering at home, and I was mentally exhausted at school, calling several times a day to check on his condition. During that time, I was like a little madman. My mood was terrible. I wanted to go back, but my parents wouldn't let me. She said I should focus on my studies, and that going back would only add to my dad's mental burden. Sister Qingli stayed by my side, saying everything she could to comfort and coax me. It wasn't until my dad was discharged and personally video called me to say he was completely fine that I finally felt at peace. That day I was so happy I took her out for barbecue to celebrate his recovery. My classmates began their internships, scattering across the country. Especially in my last 2 years at Lin University, I participated in several industry-famous competitions and achieved good results. I became somewhat well-known in the traditional Chinese painting circle. My professor asked me 3 or 4 times to be his teaching assistant, and several institutions sent me offers. I actually quite liked 2 of them, but they were a bit far. Sister Qingli wanted me to stay near her so she could look after me. I couldn't win against her. My parents were on her side too, so I had to listen. I went to a graphic design firm she found for me, painting while learning design. 4 years of university life ended quickly. My grades were excellent, and I was recommended for postgraduate studies at my school, but I refused. I applied for Jing University's postgraduate program on my own and was admitted with the highest score in my major. My parents are getting older, and I'm an only child. I wanted to be closer to them. My dad's illness really scared me. I feared the day I'd want to provide for them, but they'd no longer be there. I really wanted to stay by their side. Although Jing University is still several hundred kilometers from Nanchang, it's much closer than Lin University. There's a daily flight, so commuting is easy. On the day of our farewell dinner, my iron brothers from the last 4 years and I drank several crates of beer, white spirit, and fruit wine. Every one of us was so drunk we couldn't find north, hugging each other and crying over and over like it was a life and death parting. Sister Qingli was the one who came to help me back to the dorm. That day, I pathetically threw up all over her. 4 years had passed, and I was now 22. When I ran into Shen Jinyue on campus, I greeted her casually. I hadn't told her I'd be studying at Jing University. Over the next 2 years, our contact was limited to social media likes and occasional encounters when going home. Her relationship with Songhwai was very good. Although she still put on her tea art, manipulative performances when we met, he treated her well. I gradually let go of that past incident. One afternoon, I was wandering the campus to familiarize myself with the environment when I met her on a shaded path. She was still beautiful, her skin almost transparently white, but I felt absolutely nothing. He was very surprised by my sudden appearance. Hearing I was there for grad school made her even happier, and she insisted on treating me to a meal. I accepted calmly, and we ate Wyong cuisine in the cafeteria. At this point, she was just a high school classmate, a neighbor who lived across the hall for 20 years, nothing more. What's wrong with classmates having a meal together? Doing it in public was fine. Refusing would have been worse. Since childhood, her grades had always been great. This time, she was also recommended for grad school. Songhwai had tested into the same school's postgraduate program. He joined us during the meal, sitting by her side with that same submissive look. No growth at all. Hearing I'd be at the school for 3 years, his hostility toward me deepened. Being at the same school meant many chances to meet, and with that, annoyances increased. Several times we ran into each other in the cafeteria. She'd offer to wait in line for my food, telling me to just find a seat and wait. I didn't listen to her. I lined up for my own food and found my own seat, trying to keep my distance. We were already in 2 different worlds. There was no need to force ourselves together. Once, during the cafeteria's peak hours, I couldn't find a seat while carrying my bowl of Lanzhou Lamian. I had no choice but to sit opposite her. I just picked up the noodles and hadn't even put them in my mouth when Songhwai arrived, panting. He stood beside me without saying a word, just staring as if I'd done something to him. I was truly annoyed. I picked up my bowl and left, standing by a windowsill to finish my meal. I don't know how she explained that meal. Anyway, after that, whenever Songhwai saw me, he was as guarded as if he were watching a thief. Afterward, no matter how she looked for me, I didn't respond. After all, she was taken. I was clean and clear, and I didn't want to bring unnecessary trouble upon myself. Although I knew there would be awkward moments studying at the same school, this was too much. I started to regret coming to Jing University and wondered if I should ask Sister Qingli to help me transfer. But then I met someone who was both logical, yet unexpected. Late September in Jing City was still very hot. I sat under the shade of a tree, fanning myself while waiting for my new roommate to head to the cafeteria. Then I heard someone call my name. I turned around. Standing in the sunlight was a woman in a white dress, smiling gently at me. The midday sun filtered through the leaves, leaving dancing spots of light on her face. Li Wenying? Why are you here? What a coincidence, meeting an old friend in a distant land. I stood up happily and walked over. It had been over 2 years. When we parted, she'd asked, "Haoshen, will we ever meet again in this life?" The world really is small. Just 2 years later, we met in the vast sea of people at Jing University. In an instant, I remembered the girl who said goodbye to me with tears in her eyes. She had stood there quietly, recounting her feelings for me, the regret and reluctance of having to leave. Time had shaped her, turning the chubby girl who was always laughing into a slender beauty. She was Li Wenying, but no longer the little chubby girl in my memory. It's not a coincidence. I came specifically to wait for you. She stood in the sun with me, looking up at me deeply. Her gaze held many things I couldn't understand. Being looked at like that made my heart skip a beat. I felt a bit flustered. I couldn't help but wonder vaguely. If Shen Xinye hadn't hidden those letters, if I hadn't foolishly focused all my attention on her, would I have liked that chubby girl who was always laughing by my side? I don't know. There are no ifs in life, and the gap between us would make ifs even more distant. I didn't tell anyone I was coming here. How did you know? If you have the heart, you'll naturally know. Anyway, since we haven't seen each other in so long, could you do me the honor of letting me treat you to lunch? She smiled. In that smile, I could vaguely see the shadow of the little chubby girl from high school. Sure. She took me to a high-end restaurant in the city center. It was my first time there. The environment was peaceful and quiet, with light music like wafting fragrance. The food came quickly. She picked up a vegetable and put it in her mouth, her gaze still entirely on me, focused with an undetectable heat. It's been almost 2 years. How are you, Haochin? If my dad hadn't had a health issue, I would have stayed at Lin University for grad school. Uncle is so kind. How is his health now? What exactly was the problem? I know a few people in hospitals here, maybe I can help. After eating a lot, I was a bit full. I picked up a small fork and ate fruit listlessly. A heart issue? But it's fine now. We chatted about everything, eventually returning the topic to Nanchang and our 3 years of high school. After studying away for so many years, I often thought of the people and things in Nanchang. High school classmates were one of the most vivid parts. She was very talkative. She mentioned many things I didn't even remember, yet she described them as clearly as if they'd happened yesterday. Speaking of the year we graduated, she looked a bit proud. Everyone was on the playground taking graduation photos. She'd spent 10 yuan to switch spots with the boy behind me, successfully getting a photo where she was closest to me. I have the graduation photo in my phone album. Do you want to see? Her eyes lit up as she smiled softly. Of course, let me see. I found the photo and put it on the table, sliding it toward her. I pointed at her. You were already much thinner here. I can see the beginnings of a beauty. She didn't mind my teasing but stared at the photo, lost in thought. Something was flickering in her eyes. The screen went black. Just as I was about to take it back, she suddenly grabbed my hand in her palm. She looked up at me and said softly, Haochen, that year I really thought we'd never see each other again. I was sad for so long. But today, I met you again. I don't want to make myself suffer anymore. Haochen, I want to be your girlfriend, the kind who gets married, has kids, and looks after each other for a lifetime. Are you willing? The question came so suddenly that I was momentarily at a loss. You've read those letters I wrote, haven't you? Every word in them is sincere and always valid. Haochen, can we try? I want to be your girlfriend. Really want it for many years, okay? This beautiful woman was almost pleading with me. I never thought there would be a day when a girl would hold my hand in the sunlight and ask me to be her boyfriend. I had no experience with this and didn't know how to answer. Those eyes full of deep affection made it hard to say no. Should I say yes? I was completely unprepared for this. But Li Wanying, those letters, I only read 2 lines before the culprit, Sister Qingli, threw them away. I don't know what was in them. Haochen, say yes, okay? I know you don't like me yet, but we can try, right? If you don't feel good about it, or if you find someone you like, you can leave any time. I won't make it hard for you. Li Wanying. Give me some time to think about it. Okay. I'll wait for your answer. The school was a distance away, at least half an hour by car. Coming here, we were just high school classmates chatting happily. On the way back, because of her question, the atmosphere became ambiguous. She kept trying to find topics to liven things up. I kept my head down like an ostrich, just giving non-committal replies. When the luxury car stopped in front of my building, she said softly, Haochen, don't make me wait too long. I nodded and went inside. Around 5 p.m., she called to ask me out for dinner, saying there'd be a surprise. I didn't really want to go. I just said I'd consider it at noon. Meeting again in the evening made me afraid she'd ask for my decision. Mostly she was so enthusiastic it felt a bit surreal. Besides, school had been in for a few days. Sister Qingli had messaged several times to check on me, but I'd been delayed by various things. I'd given her brief replies. I planned to chat with her properly after dinner so she wouldn't worry about me from across the distance. Before I could refuse, Li Wanying said, I'm already here, waiting for you downstairs. Haochen, I know you aren't ready. I'm not asking for an answer immediately. I just ask that you be fair and give me a chance to pursue you first. She was the first to state her pursuit so clearly. I couldn't find a reason to say no, so I agreed. While washing my face, I thought, many college classmates moved in with girlfriends by sophomore year, but I hadn't even held a girl's hand. Everyone saw me as a freak. I figured I was at the age to date. I should have a girlfriend. Li Wanying and I were basically childhood friends, and I knew her well. She had liked me for so many years. Trying things out with her wouldn't hurt. I stepped out of the building. She was standing 5 steps from the entrance, holding a large bouquet of red roses, smiling at me with eyes full of joy and passion. Haochen, these are roses I picked personally. For you. Do you like them? She held the flowers out to me. I thanked her and took them. She chuckled and reached for my hand, but I stepped aside to avoid it. I saw the faint disappointment in her eyes and gave her a smile. She gathered her emotions instantly and stood by my side. Let's go, I'll take you for a feast. The air conditioning in the car was at a comfortable temperature, and the air smelled faintly of leather. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw her phone screen light up. The calling number looked somewhat familiar, but I couldn't remember whose it was, so I didn't think much of it. I looked back at the passing scenery. We hit a red light. She picked up her phone to send a short WeChat reply. When she put it back, she glanced at me, seeming a bit nervous. I gave her a shallow smile, not knowing why. We were just classmates. Whatever messages she sent had nothing to do with me, and I had no right to ask. Naturally, she didn't need to be nervous. When we arrived, I realized it wasn't a formal restaurant like at noon, but a private club. It was my first time in such a place. Both the atmosphere and the decor were fundamentally different from a restaurant. It was very high-end and beautiful, especially the garden deep in the first floor lobby with rare plants of all sizes. It was like a small botanical garden. The men and women walking around were all dressed glamorously, and there was a faint scent in the air. It was worlds away from the environment I grew up in. I felt quite shabby dressed as I was and regretted coming. I'm used to my own life and don't care how others see me. But she's different. She's a rich young lady. Appearing at a club with a male companion like me might embarrass her. What are you thinking? She was walking a fist's distance from me and keenly felt the change in my mood. Li Wanying, I want to go back. I don't really like it here. There are a few very good friends inside. We'll stay for a bit and then leave, she said, patting my shoulder. She pushed open the exquisite carved wooden door of the private room. The noise inside immediately went silent. Everyone looked at me as I followed her in. In the center was a large round dining table. On one side was what looked like a mahjong machine, and further away, a pool table. A large projector on the wall was playing a music video. Sister Wanying is here! Where's Brother Han? Didn't you say you were bringing her? The speaker was a boy around 18 or 19. He was fair-skinned and handsome. But ignoring the clear hostility on his face, he was a rare, little haughty. It was my first time meeting everyone. Why was he hostile toward me? I couldn't understand it. Yihan sent a message. She'll be here in a bit. Li Wanying pulled me to a seat by the window and sat down beside me. Are you okay? She whispered, leaning in. I nodded. The view here is wide, and you can see the night sky right behind you. It's nice. Sister Wanying, this handsome guy looks unfamiliar. Who is he? Won't you introduce us? It was that boy again. He stared at me coldly, his furrowed brow suggesting displeasure. So young, yet so sharp. He was no nice guy. Her normally soft gaze tightened, and her aura turned cold. She looked up at the boy. Zhang Chao, are you questioning me? He let out an "oh" and looked at her. How would I dare? I just haven't seen such a handsome guy before. Envy, jealousy, hate, I just didn't control myself. Don't be mad at me, Sister Wanying. The others at the table followed suit, saying a few things before changing the subject to business, stocks, and the like. I'd never dealt with those things and only half understood them. Bored, I took out my phone. Though I tried to minimize my presence, the whole table was still secretly sizing me up. I figured they were all guessing my relationship with her. The tea was served, but I had no appetite. I just felt like I couldn't fit into this atmosphere and sat there awkwardly. How come Brother Han isn't here yet? If he doesn't come soon, we'll be finished eating, a girl in a bright red skirt said. Li Wanying checked her WeChat. She said something came up and she's not coming. The boy from before blinked, seeming like he wanted to say something, but he was wary of her cold face. He bit his lip and turned away, no longer looking at me. They kept discussing professional topics. I was the only one who didn't understand, feeling isolated from the group. Suddenly it felt so pointless. Li Wanying, I want to go back. You haven't eaten much. Eat a bit more and we'll go. I shook my head. I don't want to eat. If you have business to discuss with them, I can go back by myself. I'll go with you. She said a few simple words to them, grabbed her bag from the back of the chair, and led me out. Leaving the club and stepping onto the bluestone path, breathing in the air, I felt like I'd returned from another world. 1 foot in heaven, 1 foot on earth. Are you unhappy? She asked while driving. You didn't speak all night. Was it too noisy? I looked at the passing streetlights and pedestrians. Suddenly I felt that she and I might not have a future. After all, we're from 2 different worlds, with different upbringings, worldviews, and hobbies. How could we build a beautiful future? I'm just not adapted to it. She gave a low laugh. Those brats are indeed too crude. I'll see them less from now on. I prefer our world of 2. Hao Chen, how much longer do you need to consider? I really want to hold your hand. The topic changed so fast and with such clear intent that my face turned completely red. She laughed heartily. Hao Chen, you look incredibly handsome when you blush. I carried the roses back to my building. She stayed at the door and watched me get on the elevator. Back in my room, I climbed into bed to check my phone before sleeping. In my gallery, the roses lay quietly in various poses. I picked the best 2 and sent them to Sister Qingli. When something good happens, of course I want to share it with her. To be honest, after nearly 2 months apart, I'd grown used to her taking care of everything and really missed her. She replied instantly, "Very beautiful. Where are they from?" If someone else asked, I'd tell them straightforwardly. But when she asked, I felt strangely guilty. My first instinct was to lie, but my kindergarten teacher said liars aren't good kids. I'm a good kid, so I don't lie. Li Wanying sent them. She even took me to a club for dinner. The little chubby girl who had her love letters hidden by Xingyue? Yeah, she's not fat anymore. Slender and quite pretty. Didn't you see her on my birthday? Why did she send you flowers? Nothing, really. She said she wants me to be her boyfriend. You agreed? No, how could I just agree? I said I'd consider it. This isn't like pulling a radish from a patch. You can't just pick anyone. Her side showed typing for 5 minutes, but not a single word came through. I stared at the screen, waiting for her to speak. My eyes grew tired from staring. The typing prompt disappeared, yet still nothing. Sister Qingli, are you still there? Silence. I waited a bit longer, but she still didn't reply. I wanted to ask her if I should agree to try things with Wenying, or if I should think of a way to test her, but she suddenly played a disappearing act for no reason. I fell asleep full of regret. I agonized over those 2 questions in my dreams all night without a result. Since I had no classes the next morning, I stayed in bed. I didn't even eat breakfast, just lazing around. Before 8:30 a.m., a call from Shen Xingyue came in. It completely woke me up. What's she calling for? That's rare. Zhang Haochan, are you with Li Wanying? She sounded like she'd just done some intense exercise, her voice urgent and panting. What's it to you? Whether it matters is one thing, but look at the school forum. You're a celebrity now. What? I opened the school forum and saw it was a mess. At the top was a photo from yesterday afternoon in front of my building. The stars were Wenying and me, with those roses as the medium. The angle was perfect. She was looking at me with shy affection as she handed me the flowers, and I was looking down at her deeply. It looked exactly like a pair of lovers gazing at each other. If I hadn't lived it myself, I'd think the scene was enviably beautiful. Goddess Wenying has fallen from her pedestal and embraced the mortal world. Wow, I want to cry. Why does the goddess have a guy she likes? Doesn't she avoid men? Shh, let me cry for a bit. The guy is so handsome, he's worthy of the goddess. They're so perfect, I want to ship them. Go for it, handsome. See? Zhang Haochen, you've only been at Jing University for a few days and you're already so lonely. Does being in the spotlight give you a sense of achievement? Her words were as unpleasant as ever, but I wasn't 18 anymore. I wouldn't let her insult me without speaking back. I don't take her crap anymore. Who does she think she is? 5 years ago, she scolded me until I was worthless, and 5 years later, she still wants to interfere in my life? Who gave her the face to point fingers at my business? What is she? I have a temper too. Whether I'm lonely is my business, being in the spotlight has nothing to do with you. Mind your own business and stop trying to find a sense of existence here. It's really annoying. With that, I hung up. She called several more times. At first, I hung up manually, but eventually, I just let the phone vibrate on the bed and ignored it. When it finally stopped, the WeChat bombardment started. To keep my mood up, I deleted all the voice messages she sent without listening to a single one. There's no need to keep irrelevant people and things around, especially those who don't treat others like people. Not blocking her on WeChat was me just being mindful of our old ties. After getting a lecture from her for no reason, my mood was foul. I called Sister Qingli hoping she'd scold Xingyue and vent for me. For some reason, she didn't answer. She must be busy. After all, a mainstay of the new blood at Lin University is the elite of the elite. It would be a problem if she weren't busy. Thinking about how she forgets to eat when she's busy made me worried. I quickly sent her a WeChat message telling her that no matter how busy or tired she is, she mustn't let her body collapse. I told her to eat on time and drink hot water in the cold north. Long after I sent it, there was no reply. This was extremely rare in the last 4 years. She'd never not replied to my WeChat. Just as I was considering a video call, Li Wanying sent a voice call request. I answered. and her seductive laughter came through. She was clearly in a good mood. "Why is your voice so raspy? Did you just wake up?" I scratched my messy hair and yawned. Luckily, it's a voice call. If it were video, I wouldn't have answered. It would ruin my glorious image. She chuckled. "What are we eating for lunch?" "You pick, I'll set it up." I hesitated. I thought it would just be the two of us last night, but it turned into a party. One or two of them were clearly targeting me. Although she looked after me the whole time, the meal wasn't pleasant. For me, it was a bad experience. Her circle was too flashy and left me overwhelmed. If I had to choose, I still prefer the simple life of sitting across from Sister Chingli and sharing a pot of spicy stir-fry. Also, several people at the table asked who I was, but she brushed past it and didn't introduce me. I didn't know if she was trying to respect my feelings or if she felt it wasn't necessary. I didn't really care, but I didn't feel comfortable. I want to eat at the cafeteria for lunch and get to know the area. Don't worry about me. How can I do that? I'm working hard to. Bring home the handsome guy. You can't block my path or discourage my determination. I didn't expect her to be so humorous. What are you talking about? Correction, she said, her tone becoming serious. Not a word of that was nonsense. I'm serious about pursuing a handsome guy. Get up and get ready. I'll pick you up in half an hour. There's a food street near school, right? I heard the rice noodles there are amazing. Let's try those instead. She didn't reply immediately. I didn't know if she was busy or thinking. If you're busy, go ahead. I'll go with my classmates. Not that busy. I'll listen to you. I'm starting out now. When I went downstairs, I saw another headache-inducing scene. She was waiting in the same spot as yesterday, but standing 2 steps away was Shen Xinyue.